Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Meyer, three. Got it.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
A lot of similarities to our team from the standpoint, two top 10 defenses in the country, two teams that are really good on the glass, two teams that are really good in transition, very talented players and experienced players. So I think you look across the country and teams that have more experienced players and depth usually have been more successful this year, and hence why Texas and us are off to such great starts.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Teague, that's a three. Got it.
Timeout.
Now here's Craig Smoak and Grayson Grundhafer.
And here we go. Welcome in SicEm365 Radio on this Tuesday, February the 2nd. Welcome in, everybody. We are 3 hours and counting away. The countdown has been going on for some of you all day today, maybe even for a few days now at this point. But as far as a game time goes, we are now 3 hours away officially from the big matchup. Number 2, Baylor, 16-0 on the year in Austin, against the number 6 Texas Longhorns, 11-3 on the year, a matchup that many people have been waiting for. And tonight we will finally get to see it, and we will be talking about that game a lot today as we weave in and out through guests. We've got a handful that will be joining us. We got some Baylor football to talk about, but a lot of basketball talk today as far as the Baylor and Texas game goes. So that's where some focus will be. We got big news in college football that has nothing to actually do with the on-the-field part of college football that I know is of interest to probably everybody in this room. But Craig Smoak with you, David Smoak, Paul Catalina, they are on the road. They are headed towards Tampa for Super Bowl coverage beginning tomorrow, and that will be lasting through Friday. So we're going to have 3 days of Super Bowl coverage for you, and those guys are making their way there right now, but I stayed back. Grayson Grundhafer is with me, normally my podcast partner in the newly rebranded and renamed Bearcast, formerly known as Trust the Podcast and formerly known as Fast Friday. Even before that, it is now the Bearcast. We've got the first edition of that in the books, and you heard that just a little while ago. But Grayson, a big one tonight down in Austin.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one for sure, and I think this is going to be one of the first real tests for Baylor, to be honest. And could Texas be the first team to keep a game within 8 points of Baylor? Spread's 5.5, so it's going to be a very interesting matchup, and I'm excited to see these guards. It's a battle of veteran guards. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a very, very close and competitive game, but Baylor just keeps on rolling right now, so we'll see if they can keep that going in Austin.
Yeah, they've been kicking butt and taking names. They've had, kind of spurts where maybe the game's a little bit close, but as we saw this past Saturday with Auburn, eventually they just hit another gear, and they shifted into another gear, and they just take off. Now, tonight, I don't know if that's necessarily in the cards. I don't know that Texas is a team that you just, you're kind of tight with, and then you eventually smash the gas on them like you have so many others, but we'll know all that tonight. That's the beautiful part about it, is that we'll actually get to see. There's no more speculating on what Baylor, Texas will look like or could look like. We're actually going to see it here in less than 3 hours' time. And here in just a moment, we're going to kick off our guest lineup as we'll be joined by Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades. He'll join us in the next couple of minutes to talk about tonight's game and just a few storylines that are going on. And one of those storylines, Grayson, that has nothing to do with college football, but everything to do with college football. EA Sports announced today in a random tweet, I don't know if this was expected or not, but out of nowhere, seemingly, EA Sports announced that they will be bringing back the NCAA college football video game for next-generation consoles. Now, it's going to take them a little bit of time. I don't think it's going to be out in the next couple of months. It's going to be a little bit of a wait, but you talk about like some massive news for video game fans and for college football fans. That's pretty big news, and I know a lot of people are excited about it.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many of my friends just texted and were blowing that up. I mean, it's going to be so cool. I know people have been waiting for this game to come out for so long, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, it was super random today, to be honest. It was just kind of out of nowhere, but it definitely got fans excited. And yeah, you're probably right. It's probably going to be a year or two before that game ever surfaces, but at least something to get excited about.
Yeah, it definitely is, and definitely a change from what has become the norm in college football, where the video game was off the table, and it's kind of just the changing world, and somebody who's trying to keep up with that changing world and keep tabs on it. Craig Smoak, Grayson Grundhafer, Smokey and Paul Catalina on their way to Tampa, but we're now joined on the phone lines by Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, for his weekly segment. And Mack, we certainly appreciate your time this afternoon. We were just discussing the big video game news that dropped earlier today with EA Sports announcing that the college football game will be coming back. What kind of meaning does that have to you, if any, Mack?
Man, how long ago? How long has it been absent from the marketplace? I don't even remember. It certainly brings back memories of the Ed O'Bannon case, etc. And so, it's not surprising as we embark upon this this new venture. I'll call it, refer to it as we think about name, image, and likeness. And how it impacts college athletics. I think the timeline for it is still a little bit uncertain as we wait to hear what transpires with the Supreme Court case as they look at the Austin case and what type of ramifications that has, and, probably won't know until June. And then, how does that impact all of the name, image, and likeness stuff? All of the different states, right? How does the federal government get involved, right? We need the federal government to get involved along with the NCAA to probably preempt all of the different state legislation that's either been passed or will pass here in the future. Just, I don't know how you operate with all of the different, states and not being on the same page, in terms of college athletics. So those are all of the things that I think about when that was announced, this morning.
Yeah, and it was actually 2014, and a familiar name, Denard Robinson, was on
Michigan,
the cover.
Oh, shoelace or shoestring, whatever they called him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mack, how do they come up with an idea to release this with so many things still ongoing, so many questions that need to be answered? Is there a workaround, you think, for them, or are they just kind of playing ahead of the game a little bit?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I wish I could give you a better answer than I don't know. But I don't know. I'm not sure if they had any conversations. Unfortunately, with my schedule today, I have not been able to read any of the articles. Obviously, a couple people texted it, and I've got the ESPN app on my phone, and so got that notification as well. But I haven't been able to read. I don't know if any of the articles speak to that, but. I'm not sure that they've had any conversations with the NCAA. Maybe they have, right? I don't know. And so it feels like it's a little bit premature, but they may have information that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, Nicole Auerbach had a piece where she wrote that right now EA Sports is moving forward without rosters that include the names, image, or likeness of real college players, but the company is hopeful that whatever federal NIL legislation is passed by Congress, or by Congress, will allow for that to change. So, like you said, they're kind of a little bit ahead of schedule maybe as far as all of this goes.
Yeah, feels a little bit preemptive, but we'll wait and see. So a lot. There's so much to play out for us, and when I say us, I mean college athletics, and I think the next, probably as soon as 3 months up to 18, 24 months, we're going to have more change in college athletics than we probably had in the last 10 to 15 years. So definitely interesting times for all of us that are in this industry.
Now, your basketball team, your men's basketball team, has a big matchup tonight down in Austin. Texas is going to allow some fans in the building. I guess COVID's cleared up there in a miraculous amount of time. The timing is just perfect there. But in all seriousness, it's going to be a little bit more of a rowdy atmosphere than I guess, teams have been kind of accustomed to this season. Some more fans there, and obviously just a very important game, a game where you can have some padding at the top and just a big win. So what are your thoughts as you watch what they did to Auburn on Saturday and now turn the page back into Big 12 play on the game tonight and the importance of it?
Yeah, well, my thoughts, candidly, are very much like your thoughts. All of a sudden, right, we're coming to town ranked number 2, and they're going to have about 2,300 fans in the building. So, obviously, something happened with COVID down there over the last 48 to 72 hours that I'm not aware of. But, look, I think it's a great challenge. Obviously, Shaka has done a great job this year with the team, and I think a lot of him. When my first AD job, he was the assistant coach there at Akron, so know him and respect him and happy for him, and it will be a great challenge for us. I wouldn't want anybody else in the country coaching us other than Scott Drew, and again, just an unbelievable job that he's done. We forget about last year, because we didn't get to play in the postseason. But man, you can't forget about last year in terms of the great job that Scott and the staff did last year, and then just continuing to do that this year, and losing some big pieces off that team, last year, and still finding a way. To be, number 2 in the country and have the opportunity to play such a big game like tonight. So it's going to be a great challenge. Texas is very athletic. They're long. I think, the matchup against Auburn, was really, really good for us because they were long and extremely, extremely athletic. So, again, great matchup, great for college basketball. I'm excited for it. Can't wait to watch it, and I like our chances.
Mack, during your time as an athletic director, you've seen a lot of really good teams. And I know it's only the midseason, so you don't maybe want to be too premature with these comments. But when you watch this Baylor basketball team and just the success that they've had and kind of how they've come together, how they've gone about it, is this one of the more complete teams you've ever kind of been, I guess, a part of as an athletic director?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And I would say yes, I have. I've been blessed to be around some really elite special teams, and this team is up there with any of them, and maybe surpasses them. And it's as you all know, it's so much more than just the talent level on the court, right? It's the character, right? And I heard this said a while ago that talent gets you to that next level. So, let's think about, basketball. Talent gets you to the NBA, but character keeps you there. And I think that's so much a part of this team. Talent gives us the opportunity to compete at a high level, but the character of our young men really, really allows us to be ranked number 1 last year, to be ranked number 2 this entire year, and still be undefeated. They're really, really good young men, and they're selfless, right? They play. I get it. It feels and sounds coach speak, but it's true. They play for each other, and you've seen it this year, right? There are different games where different players have been the star, right? And there's pure joy in that by all of the team members. And so it's a special team because of talent, but it's way beyond that. It's who they are off the court, and it's how they play for each other when they're on the court.
Mack, we asked you this last week because there was a little bit of chatter about it, and I think the chatter's kind of died down, but I'll ask you just in case. Has anything really changed as far as the outlook for the postseason tournaments? Is that seems like it's still ahead of schedule, but has there been even any further conversation in regards to those tournaments?
Yeah, not a whole lot, since last week. it's still tracking right. You know, we continue to have conversation about the Big 12 postseason tournaments, both women and men, and just the logistics of that and all of the testing and how do you do that. And, you know, if you end up, you know, winning the tournament, or you end up playing in the championship game, are you staying in you know, Kansas City and then, you know, leaving from Kansas City to either, you know, Indianapolis or San Antonio respectively, or, you know, if you get knocked out early and you're certain about going to the NCAA tournament, then, you know, going home, but keeping up the testing, because you've got to have the 7 days of testing prior to going into the NCAA tournament. So just a lot of logistical conversation about all of it. But, you know, right now still moving forward with the conference tournament in Kansas City for both. And then just also thinking about and preparing for the NCAA tournaments.
Mack, on the football side of things, I know a lot of the players, pretty much all the players, are now on campus, but I just wanted to get your early impressions on what Vic Valoria has done with the strength and conditioning program at Baylor, if you've gotten any early reports or seen any new things just based on what he's been able to do early in the process.
Yeah, I think it's been extremely positive, probably more positive than what I anticipated. Just the style of Vic and his staff, and the different methodology, right? And you know, maybe a little bit more attention to strength and building strength without compromising, you know, speed. But it's been I think it's been really, really well received by our student athletes. It's been very, very positive. I've had the opportunity to interact with, you know, at least a dozen, and they've all been extremely, extremely positive. So, you know, it's early, and you know, we'll see if they think the same thing here, you know, 6 weeks from now, when they begin mat drills and all of those things. But yeah, so far so good.
I have had reports here from somebody who may or may not be in studio with us. It's sore legs very early on in the Vic Valoria process. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. So that does seem to be working, and those positive returns are nice as well. I saw where you guys released your attendance, I guess, you know, limits for softball upcoming. How difficult are those conversations as far as trying to figure out with baseball, softball, or is there guidance already there that makes it kind of simplistic to know what numbers to go with as far as capacity, fans who might be able to attend?
Yeah, I think we it's not an easy decision to make, because we want fans there, and again, we certainly respect the severity of COVID. So you know, that it's not easy to make, but there's guidelines in place, and we're going to continue to work and follow CDC and Waco and Big 12. And so landing where we landed, you know, we believe we've kept all of that into consideration, and we'll do that, you know, as safely as possible. It's a little bit different than basketballs, because you are outdoors, but still asking, you know, fans and anybody that's walking into our venues to just be respectful of others and wear your mask and do as best as you can to keep socially distant, so we can continue to enjoy these events, right? And we don't have to get into a situation where we have to play without fans. And so we're certainly grateful for the fans that are there and able to come into our venues.
Mack, typically spring practice happens sometime in kind of mid-March. Last year there wasn't a spring football. What is the outlook for spring football right now? I know you probably don't have an exact date yet, but is it still looking like there will be spring football, and are you pretty confident in that?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's been a topic of conversation, and you know, right now we feel good as an industry. We feel good as a league. We feel good here at Baylor about spring practice, right? I don't think anything's going to change in terms of, I believe they they give you, 34 days, a 34-day window to get in 15 practices, I think, if I remember that right off the top of my head. And so I think that will stay the same. Now, I think there will be the ability, if, you're at a campus, on a campus that has to shut down for some reason because of COVID, that you'd be able to file a waiver and have those 34 days extended. So, I think it looks promising. We're certainly, looking at, best days, best to begin, and we're planning on having a full spring practice.
Yeah, also wanted to ask about just a little recruiting logistics question. The dead period is still going on until April. Have you heard any signs of that potentially being lifted after that, or anything positive in that regard?
Yeah, again, some conversation. I think there's probably 3 different options, right? I think one is to extend dead period, right? 2 is to move from a dead period into a quiet period where coaches, staff can't go out, but you can begin to entertain official and unofficial visits, right? And then the third is just go back to normal. And I really doubt that the third is an option. Who knows? But if I'm guessing, I doubt that the third would be an option. And I probably feel like that one, extending the dead period, although slide option, I don't think, at least that at this point in time, that will get extended. And so we'll probably go to something like a quiet period. That's my guess, my best guess. But again, nothing decided yet. I would anticipate that here in the next 2 to 4 weeks that we'd have a decision on that.
Mack, do you head down to Austin tonight, or you watch from home?
Yeah, it's a great question. I really want to go down there and watch in person and support our team. But, I haven't, because of my crazy schedule, I haven't been able to go to a road game, and we're undefeated. So I don't want to mess with that. And I've got some late meetings here, so I'm going to watch it here.
Mack, does that mean you won't go to the Final Four if they're there?
If they keep winning on the road?
That only applies to regular season now. So I will be in Kansas City, and I will be in Indianapolis. So
sounds good. Hey, Mack, thanks so much for your time as always. We really do appreciate you, and have a great week, and of course, hopefully a big win tonight for the Bears.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate spending time with you. You take care.
You too. Thanks a lot. There's Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, kicking us off here on SicEm365 Radio, covering a few things. So spring ball seems to be on target. The recruiting piece of that will be a little bit different, as we could probably imagine. And, of course, he's got a lot of focus right now on the basketball game tonight. Now, it is very interesting. I've already seen Ed O'Bannon's come out. A couple of other people, I think like a senator's already come out in regards to the video game news, and they're already complaining about, I cannot believe that they launched this video game without properly compensating the players. It's like, geez Louise, they just announced it. But to their point, I don't necessarily agree with overreacting already to all of this. But at the same time, Mack did make a pretty good, I can't find the word right now, of mentioning, like, maybe they pulled the trigger a little bit too early on this.
Yeah, like a disclaimer, just be patient.
Yeah, like, hey, long road to go, but we got a lot of things we got to figure out first.
Yeah, and some, like Ed O'Bannon, I mean, he's been working on this for so long. I'm sure he's just, every little thing he wants to make sure that it gets, thought about. But it's just one of those things. I think it's just there to cause attention, really, by saying that the video game is going to come out. And honestly, we talked about it. It's going to be a while before it actually does come out. So it's just a patience thing, I think, and it'll all get figured out, like Mack said, I believe, before that game comes out, or else they're going to be paying a ton of money to a lot of players and a lot of various people, honestly.
Yeah, here was Senator Chris Murphy. EA Sports' college football series reboot is just further proof the NCAA's priority is keeping their profits coming while keeping any and all revenue away from their athletes. Cutting athletes out of this reboot so they aren't responsible for paying them for their likeness is a grave injustice, and I'll be introducing legislation soon to help players finally profit off their talent so they don't need to face continued mistreatment like this. So makes it sound, I think, a little more extreme than it really is, quite frankly. I get his point, but I think he makes it to be like almost like, I don't know. I don't know. I think that maybe it's just the way that I read that and take it in. But, yeah, I mean, as Max said, they've got a long way to go and some T's to cross and some I's to dot before they really get this thing going. But I know it's exciting news for a lot of fans out there, and I'm not even sure what the compensation would be for all the people talking about, like, hey, players should get paid. Well, if there's like 2,000 players in this game, plus the universities, how much money is really going to be made between all the parties and all the production departments and all the different companies that work on this game? Because, EA, I'm sure, has others who help them out with various parts of it. So, yeah, you might get a little something, but I think for any college athlete who's probably thinking they're going to get like $5,000 for appearing in the game, I don't know about all that. I don't even know if I'm probably adding a few too many thousand on that, quite frankly. So we'll see, but I would imagine that once the name, image, likeness legislation eventually gets passed or introduced and passed, then that will have a huge bearing, obviously, on this video game. But I think people in general who aren't looking at it from the athlete's perspective just want the video game and are happy to have a little bit momentum in that coming back. So, yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things that people are forgetting, I know as the seasons have gone on in NCAA 14, you could still play that game. People still are, yeah. And you would roster share. You could create your own rosters and put it into the game. So I wonder if that's not a way that they kind of bypass that, is by they create the video game with a bunch of blank slates and then people go in and update the rosters, and then there you go. Now, does that work or no? Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the way that it used to be. Because I remember I had a friend who, before you could like digitally download somebody who spent hours and hours putting together all the rosters. Like, before you could do that, you had to do it yourself and manually put in. So, like, my friends would, like, have their favorite team, and they would take, like, 5 hours one night going through and just putting in number 10 quarterback for Texas looks just like Vince Young. It's Vince Young. And, and then go through it all. But, yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I would think with name, image, likeness, maybe you could, I don't know, maybe you could have their actual names in there, which would be super cool. But obviously that's coming with compensation. Now, what kind of compensation, that's to be figured out. So thanks to Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, for joining us. We'll not be making the trip to Austin, but like many of us, very keen on seeing what that outcome will be later on tonight. And coming up next, we continue on the guest lineup as former Baylor offensive coordinator Jeff Nixon. Been a while since we heard from him. Grayson, you were able to get a hold of him, and they obviously just finished the Senior Bowl practices, and before that, their Carolina Panthers football season back there in Charlotte. Jeff Nixon a part of that, and so we're going to get his thoughts on a variety of different topics, including that first year in Carolina, and if he's been paying attention to Baylor since he departed, all that and much more coming up next. Panthers assistant coach and former Baylor assistant coach Jeff Nixon on SicEm365 Radio.
2020 made you tough. Now get a tough SUV to match. There's a reason Allen Samuels has been a Customer First Excellence Award winner for 3 consecutive years. Stop by and check out the friendly, courteous sales staff, world-class facility, and top-ranked Jeep inventory. Get $6,750 in values on a new Jeep Renegade or $4,000 in total values on the new Tough as Nails Jeep Gladiator Sport and Oberlin. Experience firsthand the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, and check them out at allensamuelsdcj.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 $25 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today. Just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
We've sent the nomination forms to area high school counselors for the 11th annual Academic All-Stars team, and we will find 20 elite student athletes who excel in both academic and athletic competition from Central Texas high schools. Hello, everyone. This is David Smoak. Our title sponsor is Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952. The 2021 Academic All-Stars program is also brought to you by Westdale Asset Management, Englander Design Pack, Southwest Sports Medicine, Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Coca-Cola of Waco, Ray Broker Air Conditioning and Heating, Texas Sports Hall of Fame, HEB, the McLean Group, Universal Windows Direct, Rhoades Country Store and Barbecue, and the Waco Foundation are 501c3. Nomination deadlines March 31st. We'll eventually announce the team on Monday, May 3rd, honor them at our annual banquet on Wednesday, May the 19th. It's the 11th annual Academic All-Stars team highlighting the elite student athletes in Central Texas right here on SicEm365 Radio.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
You see that graphic, for those of you watching, tee it up at McLean Stadium. This winter, Top Golf Live will take over Waco. Top Golf Live brings the Top Golf experience to iconic stadiums around the country and will be held at McLean Stadium from February 25th through February 28th. Join Top Golf for a once-in-a-lifetime experience as you take golf swings from the concourse of McLean Stadium. In addition to offering friendly competition, Top Golf Live transforms the iconic venue to create a truly unique event. Top Golf Live tickets are on sale now at www.topgolflive.com. Back here on SicEm365 Radio, Craig Smoak and Grayson Grundhafer, and we are very pleased to be joined by an oldie but a goodie, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. Definitely not like age-wise or anything like that, but we're now joined by Panthers assistant coach, running backs coach, offensive assistant Jeff Nixon, also, of course, formerly Baylor offensive coordinator as well. And Coach Nixon, how you doing?
I am doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on. Really excited to get a chance to talk to you guys today.
Well, we're thrilled to have you, and it's been a long time since we had an opportunity to talk to you. Obviously, you guys had the season in Carolina, got through that. Just what's the feeling like after the season ends? And I guess, is it decompression for a while? Is it straight on to the Senior Bowl like you guys were? What was that experience like?
I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, I thought we really did Coach Rule and obviously, the rest of our coaching staff, thought we really did a great job of setting, the foundation for what type of organization and program, we want to be here, in the future in the NFL. I thought we had a great season, again, setting that foundation. We were in a lot of close games, as always in the NFL, and, some went our way, some didn't. But I thought we did a great job, again, setting the foundation with our current players, and, we're really excited about this offseason and getting started with, the draft, free agency, and then on to our mini camps and OTAs.
Yeah, Jeff, you had one of the toughest jobs in the nation. And the reason why I say that is because you lost the best running back in the NFL for most of the season, and you relied on Mike Davis for an extended period of time, and Rodney Smith, a youngster, and of course Reggie Bonifant also got banged up a little bit. What was that like, trying to shuffle that running back core around, knowing that you're missing, probably the best player on your team?
Man, I tell you what, it was a real joy, being able to, to coach the men I had in my room. I mean, we had a great running back room, guys who worked extremely hard, during this crazy COVID year, guys who were prepared and willing to, go lay it all on the line on Sundays, for the Carolina Panthers. When you lose a player the caliber of Christian McCaffrey, it's tough, and it's difficult. Transition, especially for our offensive unit. A guy who the previous season rushed for 1,000 yards and had 1,000 yards receiving as well. That's a guy that's hard to replace. But I really thought Mike Davis, stepped up and did a nice job. Going into the season, I stood on the table for Mike, knowing that, if something did happen to Christian for a week or two, Mike he would step in and be a quality starter for our football team. And luckily he did. I thought Mike, played the best football of his career last year, really helped our football team, have some success on offense. And, along with guys such as Rodney Smith, who was a rookie free agent, we were able to pick up, someone I'm really excited about his future. And, Reggie Bonifant, before that hurt, had a really nice game for us against the Arizona Cardinals, and the guys really stepped up, and they were able to do everything that we asked our running back to do as far as being able to run the football, protect the quarterback, and catch some balls out of the backfield. So I was pleased with the progress of the running back room this year.
Panthers running backs coach Jeff Nixon, former Baylor assistant, joining us here on SicEm365 Radio. What was the Senior Bowl experience like? I know none of this is really new to you. I mean, you've had a long coaching career in the NFL before you came to Waco a few years back, but being back in the NFL, just Senior Bowl week, what's that like from a coach's perspective?
I tell you what, it was a great experience. Like you said, this is my 11th year coaching the NFL, and never really got a chance to coach in the game. So, it was always a new experience, getting a chance to, be around, a lot of great future NFL athletes. Some of them who we recruited at Baylor, over the 3 years, we were in Waco. So, it was great to see, those guys, their progress, they've made during their college careers, and being able to coach them and help develop them, and just, try to help them get better as they go on their journey of, going into the NFL. I think it was especially a great week, considering, our combine's probably, it is canceled, and the access to these players is going to be a little bit limited as compared to other years, when you could travel and go to a lot of different pro days and go to the combine and so forth. So for our staff to have direct access to some of the best seniors entering the NFL draft was invaluable for us.
Since this was your first year in Carolina after moving on from Baylor, did it make you pay a lot of attention to Baylor and kind of, they struggled a little bit this season, lost quite a few close games just like y'all did. Was it pretty relatable when you were kind of, I guess, if you were keeping tabs on Baylor at all?
No doubt. In the NFL, especially on Saturdays, you got a lot of time to watch college football. And, once a bear, always a bear, man. So we were all, excited to get a chance to watch Baylor and, watch the kids that, we helped coach over the last, 3 years, and see some of the guys, such as Coach McGuire and Coach Bell, some of the guys, still on the Baylor staff. And, yeah, man, it was a pleasure getting a chance to watch them this year. Like I said, we definitely paid attention to them, and, real excited about, some of the progress, some of the, the individual kids made, this year. And I know Coach Aranda, much like us this first year, I think he set a really good foundation for what type of program he wants to run there in Waco, and looking for big things from the Baylor Bears here in the future for sure.
Coach, when you look at Matt Rule in his first year as a head coach in the NFL, this was obviously a long-time dream of his. That was no secret. Finally being able to do it, what was it like to just kind of and you know him so well, but to just see him in his element in the NFL on those sidelines, what was that experience like?
It was a good experience. Coach Rule, he be honest with you, he really didn't change a bit. I mean, like I said, I think he did a great job, getting his message across to our guys. We really have the same motto, for our organization, for our football team. We want to be the toughest, hardest working, most competitive team in the NFL. And, that's what we try to go about our business on a daily basis, trying to get 1% better every day. And, it was good seeing Coach's message resonate, to the guys at this level as well. Like I said, I thought our guys fought week in and week out and really gave everything they had. And like I said, I think we have a bright future here in Carolina. But Coach did a terrific job as far as motivating the guys, keeping everybody on track. I think he hired a great staff, on offense, defense, and special teams. And like I said, we're really excited about the future.
Yeah, Jeff, I know in your time at Baylor, during when y'all were recruiting, y'all really looked for big, long, strong athletes with speed and a lot of athletic ability. How do you find those guys in Carolina? Because y'all drafted a bunch of those guys, Chen and Derek Brown, but how do you ensure that you're still doing that with no NFL combine?
It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Thank goodness, we have a really good scouting department, guys who have been on the road, who have seen these prospects, who have gathered a lot of information, over the years, going to each individual school. And our guys have, been able to provide us with a lot of information, on the prospects without actually having to see them live and in person. Hopefully this year, we'll be able to get on the road a little bit and attend some of the pro days as individual coaches. But like I said, our scouting department has been really valuable, for us as far as gaining information on the prospects.
Just a couple more questions for you, Coach. Jeff Nixon, Carolina Panthers running backs coach, senior offensive assistant, former Baylor co-offensive coordinator, running backs coach here with us on SicEm365 Radio. When you look back at your 3 years in Waco, from the start and kind of like the lows of that to the highs of the finish and appearing in the Sugar Bowl, do you have a particular game, a particular memory, a particular moment that kind of stands, atop many of or some of the others when you look back on your 3 years in Waco?
Oh man, that's a hard task to really kind of decide. I had so many really good memories, over the 3 years there. One particular memory I would guess is probably the Texas Bowl win. Just so proud of our players. Going into that bowl game, we were 6-6 and still trying to get over the hump. We just finished with a big win, versus Texas Tech. To become bowl eligible and be able to go into that game against a quality SEC opponent, with a winning season on the line and winning that game in the fashion we did. I thought that was a really special moment for me and the rest of our staff, and kind of propelled us into our last year there, winning 11 games.
So, Jeff, I know your son, Will, is at Nebraska right now, and he's a local kid, went to Midway, of course. So what has his journey been like in Nebraska, and just what's your family's journey been like in Carolina, and then obviously going and trying to see him as well in Nebraska?
Yeah, it's funny. Will was just here in Carolina for the first time, with the COVID situation. It's really the first time we saw him in 6 months, when he was, obviously attending Nebraska. But he loves it out there. Unfortunately, going into the season, he tore his ACL and, had to sit out this year. But, his rehab is going very well. He loves it out of Nebraska. He got a chance to get ahead of some of his engineering classes. So he's doing well academically, and he's on track to practice in the spring. So he's doing very well and loves it out there in Lincoln. Our family, we adjusted well here in South. We actually live in South Carolina, which is about 20 minutes from Charlotte, in a great area, great location. And although we have not been out much, because of the COVID situation, we love the area. It's a really nice city, growing city. A lot of people call it the new Atlanta. It's growing so much. But we have a very passionate fan base, that love the Carolina Panthers, and we're looking to get this thing turned around here quickly here in the future, and give the fans something to cheer about. And it's a really exciting time, to be a Panther.
Well, Coach, I think you got a lot of new fans in Waco, not just because of yourself and Coach Rule, obviously, and the rest of the staff, but you got Bravion out there. Garrett McGuire's out there now.
That's right.
Yeah. How was his kind of first toes dipping into the water? I saw he was at Senior Bowl week, I believe so. But what do you think of Garrett McGuire's future there as he begins his coaching journey?
Oh, he has a bright future. We definitely put him to work. He's breaking down a lot of film and doing a lot of different things. But Garrett, I think he has a bright future in coaching. I know that's something, when I first met him, obviously through his dad, he knew he was going to become a coach, and he definitely has a bright future, and I think he's in a really good spot to start his coaching career.
Well, please make sure and tell Bravion and Clay and all the staff and everybody else. It's great to see the group of folks that we all got to follow there for a few years, all doing their thing, and a lot of them together in the NFL. So I think you got it's obviously Cowboys and Texans country, but I think there's a lot more Panthers fans now than ever before, at least in Central Texas. And I really enjoyed covering your son William at Midway there for a couple years and getting to know him just a little bit on the sidelines. Wish him the best as he looks to bounce back this year in Lincoln, and we really appreciate your time, Coach. Best of luck moving forward, and we'll definitely be keeping track.
No, I really appreciate you having me on tonight. I really, really do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. There is a former Baylor co-offensive coordinator and running backs coach, and now with the Carolina Panthers, offensive analyst and running backs coach Jeff Nixon here with us on SicEm365 Radio. Give Grayson credit for getting him on the air with us, and man, been a long time since we talked to him, so that was good to just kind of see what was going on. And obviously they're very busy. Senior Bowl week, they were one of the coaching staffs as we talked about, and the season ended not that long ago prior to that, and now you hear probably the most difficult offseason of evaluations ever because of the lack of a combine. So there's a little bit, I would think, extra work going into trying to, figure out these prospects and who might be good fits. So they're staying busy out there, but busy in a good way.
Yeah, and it was good to hear from Jeff. He's a great guy, and to hear him kind of talking about how the staff is still watching Baylor and really still wanting to see the guys that they recruited. That's so cool to hear that, and I know Matt Rule has talked about that as well. So great to hear it from another guy too, and great to hear about Will, that he's doing okay, I guess. Tough to hear about the injury, but seems like they're loving it in Carolina and pretty bought in up there. And this is going to be a tough offseason for them because, like I asked him, that staff really bought into athleticism and testing and things along those lines. And it's going to make things tricky with no combine, but if they can get out to pro days, that will definitely solve some of those issues.
Yeah, I think they have the evaluation side down. They know what they're looking for, and it might be a little bit more difficult to find those guys, but they'll find them. They most assuredly will. And, there's a big contingent out there that's growing even larger when you got Garrett McGuire now in the fold. So cool to hear Jeff Nixon's comments on that. I should have asked him about Fedora. Hey, do you realize how many people who used to boo you are now begging you to come back? I thought about it for a second, and I was just like, no, I'm gonna be cool about that because I don't want to insult anybody, but it is kind of funny. I did see some, I never thought I'd say this, but please bring back Jeff Nixon, during the season. The people you don't know what you got till it's gone, right? That's kind of how it goes. So really appreciate Coach Nixon. He was always all class in our interactions with him and in our interviews with him, and nice to catch up. So hopefully you enjoyed that as well. We'll take a break right here. First hour, kind of winding down to a close. Got a few notes we'll get to when we come back. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Brady throws, end zone. He's got Evans for the touchdown.
Super Bowl 55 in Tampa, Florida, and SicEm365 Radio will be live at NFL Media Headquarters in Radio Row Wednesday through Friday from 3 until 6. Hi, this is David Smoak. Join Paul Catalina and me for daily news and notes on the Buccaneers and Chiefs, interviews with players, coaches, and personalities.
The presenting sponsor of Super Bowl 55 coverage from Tampa, Florida on SicEm365 Radio is Marco's Pizza, pizza for pizza lovers, with locations in Woodway, China Spring, and Belmead.
Here's Mahomes. Look at underhanded. He throws it for the touchdown. How about that throw?
Little underhand.
Also brought to you by IdealMRI.com, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Waco Custom Marketplace, Boozer's Jewelers, Stonewood Dental, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac.
Here's the fake toss. Able to get away and find Hill at the 35-30. Hill inside the 20.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Petty Clinic Low T, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, and Impact Health Labs.
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown! Scotty Miller!
Buccaneers and Chiefs in Super Bowl 55 in Tampa, and we're live Wednesday through Friday, 3 until 6 from NFL Media Headquarters on SicEm365 Radio. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Welcome back in SicEm365 Radio. Craig Smoak, Grayson Grundhafer. As you see, for those of you watching at home, the graphic on the bottom, we got the phone number there, although we do have some guests coming up. Also, the text line. You can chime in on the text line at any point throughout the show. Comment on what we're talking about or not talking about, or something a guest said or what have you. But that is available for you right there at the bottom of the screen. And my contacts are a little bit fuzzy. Read off that number for me here.
Oh,
text line.
254-339.
Oh, it's right here. I'm an idiot.
1122.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It's like being at the eye doctor and then looking at the sidewall and trying to pronounce the letters that are going on. I got the chart right in front of me here. 254-339-1122. There we go. 254-339-1122 for those of you that might want to chime in on the text line or also on the phone lines as well. We do have a little bit of time before we get into our next guest. But Rob, we got Rob here. We got Armstrong, obviously, doing his thing as well. And that's it. That's really all that's going on here in the background. So I'm just kidding. But Rob just mentioned during the commercial break that Jeff Bezos stepping down as CEO of Amazon. And I checked his net worth. I don't know why, just to make myself miserable. $183 billion is Jeff Bezos' net worth. Is that selfish, or is that just a really good businessman, or can it be both?
Yeah, it can be both.
I think it's both,
and
right?
What's he going to do with all that money? What's next for Jeff Bezos?
What's
That's next? What I'm curious about. What's he going to invest in, or what's he going to buy? A couple islands in his future? We'll see. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, so he's stepping down, and somebody else is going to be taking over and making billions themselves if they're not already, but $183 billion net worth. Like, I can't even – who can imagine that?
Yeah, no one.
That's unlimited money.
Yeah.
You can just go throw it at stocks left and right. They get synced. Doesn't matter. You got money in stocks that are probably doing well. Don't even need to mess with stocks. It's just, that's incredibly crazy. But he'll be stepping down. So that's an interesting non-sports story that's going on. Obviously, tonight we got the big basketball game, Baylor and Texas, coming up at 6 o'clock as we wind down this show this afternoon. As soon as we leave the airwaves, there will be about tip-off time. And Grayson, have you been anticipating this one for a while? Is this one that you've been really looking forward to, or have you kind of been taking it in stride sort of game by game, as the season has gone along?
I mean, I've been taking it in strides a little bit, but I'm not going to lie, I looked at possibly getting tickets for the game just because it's such a big one. But, it's going to be exciting. I think, when you've seen these two teams kind of on a collision course, I feel like for the whole season, and being that the first game got postponed, I think is another reason why everyone has kind of been circling this game. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a real challenge for Baylor. And again, I think this is de facto Big 12 championship game for Texas. If Texas loses this game, I think they're done. Mm-hmm. And so it's a big one, and that means it's a big one for Baylor too if they can try to somewhat seal the deal in conference.
The first matchup ever between two Texas schools ranked in the AP Top 10.
No way.
I saw that note just now, and I'm feeling like that can't be correct either. But is that true?
I saw that on ESPN last night. I think that is true.
Wow, that's kind of surprising,
it's happened
right?
16 times in football, but never in basketball.
How cool. Is Texas 6 or 4 right now? They're 6. Okay, so it was almost top 5.
Yeah, and that surely would, obviously that would have been the first time ever. But yeah, I saw that stat and I was like, that cannot be right. Like, surely Houston back in the day ran into like Texas, or Texas Tech ran into somebody. But no, that's what we're dealing with tonight, folks. So you want to add a little extra pepper onto onto the meal we got ahead of us as sports fans tonight, then that's going to spice things up even a little bit more. But there's not too much spicing up that you really need to do, quite frankly. I mean, this just, boom, Baylor, Texas, 2-6, leader in the Big 12 versus the team that's nipping at their heels. But as we talked about on the Sic'em earlier, and I'm sure many have been Bearcast. Golly, I keep saying that. Sorry, it's brand new. I'm gonna have to get used to it. But the Bearcast, obviously the cushion that they could have with a win tonight would be a massive deal for this team moving forward, and not ensure, but almost all but ensure at least Baylor's first Big 12 championship in men's basketball, regular season championship, but just championship period in men's basketball, because they never won the tournament either. So that's what you're kind of looking at tonight, and it's not like guaranteed if they lose, if they win tonight, but it's pretty dadgum close when you look at the stretch. Sure, Oklahoma looms, another matchup with Texas looms, face Kansas again. There's all those teams, but boy, oh boy, you beat Texas tonight, and you are in the driver's seat with 3 games as your lead, and not many games left to be played.
Yeah, you definitely give yourself a great opportunity. So it's a big one. And I think we mentioned this also on the Bearcast, just that this is a game that I feel like Bill Self's Kansas teams consistently win every single year when they win the Big 12.
Still great teams do, great programs. They go out, even if they're not expected to win, they go out and win this game tonight.
Yeah, they seal the deal.
And Baylor's certainly expected to win, but like if Baylor is who we think they are, a loss tonight would not mean that goes away entirely, but it would kind of put a little bit of a hit in the armor. But if they go out and like just do what they've been doing, if they go out and win the night by like 5 or 6 points or whatever the case may be, and just take care of their business as they have been, I already think they're for real and they're for real. But that's what you could really go, wow, that's what great teams do. Like that's what special teams do, is they go out and they beat that team that might get in their way and be a little bit of a bugaboo. So big opportunity for sure. So we'll be talking about that. Would love your thoughts as well on what do you expect tonight in Austin? Baylor men's basketball versus UT, 2-6. Let us know your prediction, your expectation, your excitement level. Text line 254-339-1122. We'll take a break and come back with the 4 o'clock hour. Got a lot in store for you coming up as well. So stay tuned. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sausage, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
First down, take the handoff, rolling out. They're coming after him. Mahomes unloads it and gets it in time to Kelsey.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's Craig Smoak and Grayson Grundhafer.
All right, back here on SicEm365 Radio, hour number 2. We're with you until 6 o'clock, taking you right into the Baylor and Texas game time. Tip-off time, 6 on ESPN right now. Baylor maintaining that 5.5-point spread over the number 6 Longhorns, but Baylor 16-0. Going to move to 17-0. Texas 11-3. 2 games behind in Big 12 play, and this won't seal the deal like we were just talking about, but man, it'll go an awfully long way if Baylor can get a win tonight. If not, if Texas is able to pull the mild upset, then things get a little bit more interesting. Certainly at the top of the Big 12 standings, but man, can't wait to see that game later on tonight. And certainly I think the rest of the college basketball world in some cases, and certainly Big 12 fans out there are going to have a keen eye on this one as well. But that's going to be the big one tonight. As we mentioned earlier, David Smoak and Paul Catalina are on their way to Tampa to cover this Sunday's Super Bowl. Got the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, got the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. Epic matchup of quarterbacks, epic matchup of two teams that have won Super Bowls in the past, but obviously one a little bit more lately than the other. Been a while for Tampa Bay, but they're back now with the brilliant move of adding Brady in the offseason and Gronk in the offseason, just all the changes that they had. And then the Chiefs just kind of stuck with what they had last year, and here they are once again and looking not quite unbeatable, but pretty close to it. When you think of the teams around the NFL and those who make it look the easiest, the Kansas City Chiefs are certainly on top of that. So very much looking forward to Smokey and Paul being out there in Tampa. And for them both, those who may not know, I think they're just like, oh, they're just going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, the Super Bowl's going to be a little bit different this year, certainly. Fans not quite what they were. Media row, I don't know what to expect with Radio Row at all. It might just be radio table with them out there. I have no idea. But also a lot of family ties out there. Most of my father's family lives out in the Tampa area. Paul is from that area as well, so kind of part trip for the sports side of it, but also going back home in many cases as well. So looking forward to those guys, and once they get settled in, no idea. Do you know when their flight left? Like, they're already on the ground in Florida, Armstrong?
No, I believe their flight leaves at like 5.
Okay, so they still got a ways to go.
They're still waiting.
Okay. So they'll be out there later on tonight, and starting tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we will have Super Bowl coverage from Tampa leading up to the big game on Sunday, Chiefs and Buccaneers. Should be a fantastic game, or at least I'm hoping so. That's what I really hope, is just both teams play hard and have fun. No, I want a great game. I want a great game. Selfishly, I want a great game, especially after those conference championship games. I want to see something pretty fun out there. So we've got that going on as well. Very interesting story out of Major League Baseball. You've got the EA Sports story going on as well, but the Angels have suspended pitching coach Mickey Callaway after 5 women have accused him of lewd behavior. This was reported in The Athletic. The Angels came out this afternoon, said, late yesterday we were made aware of the allegations reported in The Athletic. This morning we suspended Mickey Callaway and will work closely with MLB to conduct a full investigation. Of course, he's denied any wrongdoing, and they can't fire him without just cause because you got to have the investigation first. So MLB and the Angels will undertake this investigation and try to see what's going on with Mickey Callaway. But a small baseball note there, and obviously bigger picture, just sports and bad headlines. This certainly fits the bill, so we'll see if that gets cleaned up sooner rather than later. But story out of the AL West there with Mickey Callaway now being under investigation. So you got that going as well. Vince Young is returning to UT as Steve Sarkisian makes his big splash and makes all his moves with this new coaching staff. UT has rehired Vince Young as a special assistant in the athletic department. So I've seen, I think it was like Blake Gideon, one of the UT assistants. He was putting out a lot of old videos of like Quentin Jammer and Nathan Vasher and all these old UT DBs that helped them in part become DBU. Although that moniker is really only said by Texas fans at this point. I think most would say LSU, Ohio State, someone along those lines is really DBU at this point. But Texas certainly had that title for a long time. So I saw them playing that up a bit, just kind of on the recruiting side of things. But now you add Vince Young back into the mix as special assistant. It's pretty clear where Sarkisian's going. Get a lot of the blast from the past that a lot of these kids may have grown up watching or their parents grew up watching, and use that to your advantage. When you got a good history, as UT does, then certainly you want to try and use that, and maybe Tom Herman didn't use that enough. Young, it's been a little bit of a rough go for him after being drafted by the Tennessee Titans. It was not around there long. Ended up going back to UT as a special assistant of sorts, had a $100,000 a year job in the athletic department as a career development officer, which I can't imagine that consisted really of too much, quite frankly. I think that's one of those, like, here's a jumble title, that's what you're going to be. But, yeah, Vince Young was there previously, had a $100,000 a year job. Remember, he got in trouble, a little drunk driving, exited, but now he is back as well. Earl Campbell has been a long-time special assistant at UT. So just knowing Earl a little bit, a lot of golf tournaments, a lot of fundraising and things like that probably in store for Vince Young.
Wasn't Vince Young fired from Texas just a couple years ago?
Yeah, because the drunk driving charge, I believe, was what kind of precipitated that. Okay. Yeah, he had a couple of run-ins, and then he bounced, but I guess he's recovered now, and he's all good to be brought back.
Didn't he do a commercial in Waco for Crunch Fitness?
Did he?
I think he did. I
don't find it.
I don't know.
Maybe it was in Waco. Maybe it was in Austin. But it was for Crunch Fitness when it first moved to Waco. That one off Valley Mills there. Yeah, that I just remember. I think he did some sort of video for it, but I may be wrong.
No, I mean, dude, if you're asking TV questions, I'm like, it's 50-50 on if I'm going to know what you're talking about, but I trust you that he probably was on a Crunch Fitness commercial at some point in time. And that's kind of interesting, too. So he's got that special advisor role. Earl Campbell's also a special advisor. Arizona announced Teddy Bruschi's going to be a special advisor for them as well. So is this like the new thing of like, let's bring, hey, RG3, come on down, brother, special assistant to Baylor football. I mean, that really could be something that he could do in the future, depending on the NFL career. And even regardless, if he were to play another 3, 4, 5 years, still something he could come back to eventually, or players like him.
Well, Teddy Bruschi's a cool one.
Yeah,
that one's
very
really
cool.
He's been on ESPN for years.
Senior advisor to new coach Jed Fish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty nice pickup. That's pretty good. Just as an advisor, he's probably just sitting back, helping wherever he can. I can imagine Teddy Bruschi being a really good coach as well. I mean, he just seems like a really charismatic dude and someone that probably players could relate to pretty well. But yeah, RG3 would be cool too. He mentioned the fact that who knows, maybe one day he'd be open to being a coach at Baylor when he talked to y'all last week, and that would be absolutely fantastic to have a Heisman Trophy winner as a coach. sometimes those things don't work out, but maybe with RG3 it would.
Yeah, well, before Matt Rule left, you saw him trying to take advantage of the legendary status of RG3, and I mean take advantage in the nicest way possible. They had a great relationship once they started to get to know each other a little bit, and that's what led RG3 to kind of coming back into the fold a little bit more with the Baylor football program, because obviously he had distanced himself probably like most guys had, just with all the uncertainty and just what was going on, trying to wrap their heads around that. And then once that dust kind of settled, thanks in large part to Rule and his staff, he came in, had the quarterback camp, and COVID and just his career and Rule even, like it's kind of derailed all that. But I think that'd be something definitely that, Dave Aranda and company could maybe go back to the well there. And obviously camps are, especially just regular recruiting camps are pretty much off the table right now. So like an RG3 camp would probably be even further off the table than that. But if things return to not what normal is, because we're past that now, but whatever the future does look like when we can actually be around each other without being scared about it, I guess I could see the RG3 camp returning. I think that'd be a good idea.
It was a good one, and it was great for the community. I wouldn't say it was the most talented camp that Baylor had, but it was great to see just a lot of young kids coming out, a lot of kids that knew of RG3 in the past, and maybe kids that didn't know RG3, because now we're starting to get to the point where that's, a while ago.
It is, yeah.
So for them to get to know him and kind of remember what he was for Baylor and what he did for Baylor when he was a Bear.
Yep, so you got a couple special advisors, and we'll see, if that's becomes – I know that's pretty commonplace around. Like, I mean, Earl's had that since, like, he's probably still a running back on the team when he got that role, quite frankly. But, he's had that for a while now. Now they're adding Vince Young. You got Teddy Bruschi going to Arizona, so we'll see. But, yeah, those are a couple of your college football headlines. How stoked are you for the video game coming back here in a couple of – and by the way, I don't think we passed that along. I think I said in the commercial break. We're talking to Mack Rhoades about the NCAA video game coming back, and it appears that it will be, but it looks like at least a year to 2 years, probably more like 2 years before we see it. So unfortunately, one of our trusted interns here, Rob, will not be in the video game, although we can recreate – at least as far as the timeline goes, unless it does come out earlier, it comes out, in super fast time. But I think there's so much to work out, not with graphics and, dynasty mode and things like that, but it's, can we use their names? Can we make them look like the guys? That's all got to get figured out first.
Yeah, so let me just tell you this. So I told my wife, probably a year ago.
Y'all can't be getting divorced already, man. Y'all just got married, dude.
So I told her that, I don't play video games anymore. I have a PS3. We usually use it for Blu-ray just to watch movies and stuff. But I told her, if NCAA football ever comes back, I'm going to have to buy a PS5. Like, it's just what's going to have to happen.
I've seen that comment like 50 times on Twitter today by various dudes, yeah.
Yeah, and I texted her the tweet that came out, and she put, no, not happening. But we'll see what happens. I think I might be able to convince her that we need a new Blu-ray player.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of... I'm sure there's I don't really see too much reaction from the female fans as far as the video game goes. It's mostly dudes. It's like 99.9% dudes, but I would be interested to get the female reaction to this news, because it seems like the other side is not nearly as excited about what that video game's going to do to just life in general, knowing the hours that guys are still putting in on the 14 version of the game, as we talked about a little while ago. But yeah, it's looking like a couple of years before that will be good to go. But I haven't seen anything like kind of take over Twitter like that since the election, at least, that's kind of created that much of a buzz, like just overall. Kind of feels like things sort of died down after, things sort of settled in Washington, D.C., almost like kind of boring in a way. But I think we just got adjusted to like not having craziness all the time going on all around us from every angle. But today definitely felt like a little bit of spike in activity with so many folks, and clearly a lot of people still playing that video game. So we'll see. Mack Rhoades was very hesitant as far as like the prospects of this, just because it is so early in the process. But EA Sports obviously felt good enough about things to go ahead and say like, hey, it's coming back and we're gonna have it, and you're gonna be playing it here pretty soon. So that's gonna work out really well. As far as tonight goes, Baylor and Texas, mentioned the 5.5 point spread. We're going to hear from Jerome Tang here in the next few minutes. Baylor assistant coach Smokey had the opportunity to talk to him before departing for the Tampa, Florida area for the Super Bowl coverage beginning tomorrow, thanks to our great sponsors. But what's your feel? Like, not your prediction necessarily, but what's your sort of early feel as we are less than 2 hours from tip on this game tonight?
Yeah, I think Texas is going to possibly hit Baylor in the mouth very early. I do. I think they're going to come out and probably look like the hungrier team initially, because I do think they're kind of in do or die mode. I don't think Baylor is in that mode currently. They don't have to be in this game. So I expect Texas to play really, really hard. I expect it to be pretty chippy at the beginning. Those Texas guards are very physical. They like to harass you and really just hand check. And if they're able to get away with that with these refs, then that's going to be a huge key, in my opinion, early on in the game. Now, the issue is if they're allowed to do that, and then on the other end, Davion Mitchell's allowed to do that to the Texas guards.
That's the thing.
It's going to be a lot coming back at you. But I do expect Texas to play well early, and I do expect this to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a grinded-out type of game, potentially, like a 62-58 type of game. Just one of those kind of last season Big 12 games where it just seemed like there were so many games that were low-scoring like that. But that's kind of my initial vibe at this point.
Yeah, I'm feeling a Baylor win tonight. I don't know why. Hey, we'll see. But I'm getting a positive vibe throughout the day today on them going and winning. Although I do think it is going to be like white knuckle, down to the wire type of a game. But would love to hear your thoughts. I know there's a lot of Hoops fans excited about tonight. 254-339-1122. Send us a text. I'm accumulating some of those. We'll get to those and read those a little bit later on. But go ahead and fire off your feeling on tonight's game. Your feeling on the pulse as we are a little over 2 hours away, or a little under 2 hours away, I should say, from game time. 254-339-1122. The text line, go ahead and send those along, and we will get to them a little bit later on. Of course, you can also hit us up on Twitter as well. I'm at Craig Smoak, and you are?
At Greg Grundhafer.
Greg Grundhafer, so you can hit either one of us up. Armstrong Sims on Twitter as well, and we'll be looking at those. But coming up next, we will be hearing from a very important piece in tonight's game. Jerome Tang, one of the great assistants in college basketball, certainly a future head coach at some point in time, sooner rather than later, but right now a very key piece to this Baylor basketball program and the success that they're having. He's always fun to hear from, insightful as well, and hopefully we will get a lot of insight, and I'm sure that we will. Coming up next, Smokey with Jerome Tang. This is SicEm365 Radio. Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got the big savings event continuing to roll along throughout the month of January. They were determined to get things started off on the right note here in 2021, and that's why they are starting it big with a new year, new ride savings event. Right now, you can save $8,500 on 2021 GMC Sierra SLE Crew Cab truck. Sierra's the best truck on the road. Right now, $8,500 in savings, and with that comes big haul power, first-class comfort and ride, and some unbeatable technology. How about saving $4,500 off on the stylish, intelligent, and nimble 2021 Buick Encore GX, which includes on-the-go Alexa technology? How about saving $6,250 on a 2021 GMC Terrain, a top-of-the-line midsize SUV? So whether it's $8,500 for a truck, or off a truck, $6,250 off a GMC Terrain, the SUV style, $4,500 off the Buick Encore GX. I could continue to go on and on, but those are just some of the many great deals that are going on right now during the New Year, New Ride Savings event at Richard Carr. And also included is the fact that all pre-owned cars and trucks are priced to move. All pre-owned cars and trucks are priced to move with amazing deals all over the lot, and cars and SUVs under $137 a month for qualified buyers. So if your credit stinks like 2020, well, it's 2021. It's a new year. 100% credit approval is the goal. So bring your tax refund, bring your stimulus check, bring it all to Richard Carr, and they will stimulate your stimulus with even bigger savings that will pay off for years. So go to Richard Carr Motors today for details and a test drive, or you can log on to richardcarr.com and have them bring the test drive to you. That's right, at your home or your office, because that's the kind of people you're dealing with at Richard Carr. Make 2021 the best year ever, starting with a new car, truck during the New Year New Ride Savings event at Richard Carr.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting, and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricUSA.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's time to be brutally honest with yourself. Look in the mirror or weigh yourself. Do you weigh as much, more, or less than you did before the holidays or a year ago? Why not start the year in better shape than how you ended it and create momentum for 2021 and help strip the negative vibes, tension, pressure, and extra pounds from the crazy of 2020? It's time right now to join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. It's so much more than a gym, including world-class tennis courts, lessons available with pros, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, personal training to get you over the hump. I promise you'll look better and feel better than ever before. Just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corp. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp, spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation, a tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So make this your best and healthiest year ever. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozers Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Baylor Associate Head Coach Jerome Tang in Austin. Baylor number 2 against number 6 Texas, and what a showdown it is. And Jerome, this is so much fun. Of course, every week, every game, basically almost every game in the Big 12 is kind of a top 10 or 15 matchup. Your thoughts about Texas tonight in Austin? And hey, they're bringing back some fans. That's kind of a respectful thing to you.
Well, I'm sure they're going to be excited that just their fans and the program, because I know how excited we were to have our fans at our game. And so that's going to make for a great environment to play a wonderful basketball game against two really good teams. And, going into the year, for us as a staff, when we looked at our league and we saw what people were predicting, who's the best team, who's the second best team, we always felt Texas was underrated because they have those great guards with experience. They arguably have the best front line in the country. Defensively, easily the best front line in the country. And so, it's a monumental test for us. And I'm glad that some fans are going to be there to get a chance to see it. I think, Matthew Myers from Austin, so he's going to have some friends and family here at the game, and so that's going to be really cool.
Jerome, what makes them? Shaka, of course, had success when he was at VCU, and they've been up and down at Texas. They've had some nice wins, but they've had some consistency issues. They had everybody back. You had a lot back. I think they had everybody back, and then they added the big freshman, Greg Brown. Is that why they just a year older and more mature?
Yeah, well, actually, you look at it, they're a few years older. And what I mean by that is that, Matt Coleman's now a senior, and Courtney Ramey's a junior, and Andrew Jones is a senior. And, Andrew, but for, his bout with leukemia might already be in the NBA right now, and then you're talking about a different team, but he's there. So it's not just that they're a year older, they're multiple years of experience rolling into where they understand what their coach wants. Their coach understands who he has and what he's going to get from him every night. And so those things, Jericho Sims, just think about Texas's bigs. The last few years, they've all been like really talented freshmen, but now Greg Brown has the opportunity and the luxury of playing next to some seasoned guys, some guys who have, some experience under their belt, and he wasn't required from day one to be the very best player on the team. And so it's a combination of all those things. And I've said this for years, there are a lot of really good coaches out there, and given enough time, all of them will be successful. But you have to give time and the resources. And obviously Texas has the resources, and, Shaka's, they've been given some time and will be given more time because of the success they're having, and they're going to be good for a long time.
Yeah, and there was speculation, how this business is near the end of last year. Were they going to be patient and let this happen? What does it say that they were? That, okay, wait a minute, we're gonna give you that one more year? Because it seems like coaches they come and go. Administrations change it all the time, and that they were patient with him.
Yeah, well, let's hope that if we learned anything from this pandemic and these times that we've gone through as a country, as a nation, that giving people the benefit of the doubt and just a little bit more belief and less skepticism, and just allowing people the opportunity to work and be the best version of themselves will usually produce a really good result. And so I think the pandemic made everyone pause, and that was a good thing. For some people, they felt it was a bad thing because they couldn't go on to the next thing. But sometimes maybe just pausing and allowing some time to pass allows really good things to happen for you to see things in a different light.
Their guards, you mentioned their bigs, and again, their group of bigs may be as good as anybody, and they have the guards. Do they have the kind of the depth and athleticism at guards that can give you trouble? Because as good as yours are, they have that athleticism, quickness, and can shoot it as well?
Yeah, you look, it's not just, the three that they're going to throw out there. They're going to bring Jace Febris off the bench, who was a starter for 2 years. So they've added some more depth, and the Williams kid is really coming after the last game against Oklahoma, how well he played. So they have depth, they have athleticism, they have an identity on how they want to play, and they're going to guard us, and we're going to guard them. And Coach Drew said this the other day, it's going to come down to who can get the easiest baskets. And so last year our games were slugfest. It was, I think, a 59-44 game at our place, and then, it was in the 40s or 50s down here. And so nobody's going to give anybody an inch. And it'll come down to players are going to have to make plays in a certain times, and kids are going to have to hit some tough shots. And but I like the group that we're going in with, and I like the makeup of our team, and I like the maturity of our team.
You and I have talked about Matthew Meyer and the give and the take. And, of course, he had a dynamic game against Auburn, and especially the dunk, and I saw your reaction to that. And, everyone loves the guy, but he's going to be in his hometown. Is this one you have to, because I've said this before, he could probably create a little heartburn on occasion, but he is so dynamic. Is this him in his backyard? Is this one of those things where you got to kind of grab him and go, just be who you are?
Yes, and the good thing is, he's really matured to a point that he can tell you, he can come out and say, look, hey, I'm feeling a little this, so this is what we might need to do. Or, I can go ask him and say, how you feel? And he'll tell me, oh, no, I'm a good coach, or, I'm a little nervous. Will you pray for me? So I expect him to play really hard and really well, and to do a bunch of things that are going to give us a chance to win the game.
What are the keys? You mentioned what Scott said about who can get the most easy baskets, if there will be any easy baskets. What must you do? What you guys have to do what you do? What do you have to do tonight?
Well, we got a defensive rebound. We have to limit them to one shot. They're going to get a shot, and I think we'll defend it, fairly well. And we have to make sure they don't get a second shot, because second shots always go in. And then we can't turn the ball over on offense to allow them to get out in transition, because they are dynamic in transition. Their forwards run like guards, okay, and so it's we can't turn the ball over. And then at the end of the day, we have to create shots for each other and not make it a one-on-one game. They want to make it a one-on-one game. We've got to make it where we're creating shots for our teammates.
Jerome Tang, associate head coach at Baylor, is that you're seeing more and more. This is such an unselfish team. They're so patient. They care about each other. People talking about Baylor. And I said this, that's the way it's been now for 2 years. And I know it's great when people say that, but that's something you've done for a while. Isn't it time for everyone to understand and already know that?
Well, what? I think just in society in general, it's hard to find people who do things for somebody else with to people who sacrifice for someone else, because it's such a me generation, an I generation. It's look what I've done, and so seeing it, whether you've seen it for 2 years or 3 years, however long it's been, it's rare. And I'm thankful. One of the very thankful things during this time is the phone calls that we get. They say, man, I love how your guys share the ball. I love this, and how they use guys like Mark Vidal as an example to their teammates, high school coaches who are saying, man, I'm telling my players, look at Mark Vidal, look what he does for his team, and how, and so when people use Baylor men's basketball as an example of how to do things, that's always an honor. When they use individual players on our team as an example of how they want their guys to play, and that's definitely an honor. So we never get tired of that.
You guys have had your ups and downs of who can play, who can practice. Scott was out. But Texas has had a long time where they just got back together 2 or 3 days ago as a full team. Does that give them more refreshed, wild, on fire type energy, you think? Or do you feel like that can hurt them a little bit because they haven't played, it seems like, in a long time?
Well, when we were on pause and we came back, and our first game back was at K-State. And I thought we would kick the ball all over the place, and we played with that wild energy, fire, and made every shot. So, and I've seen some teams who've come back, and it's, there's been a struggle in the comeback. So it can go either way. I think it'll all depend on the makeup of the team, and this will be one of those games where Shaka doesn't have to convince the guys to do the little things that it takes to win. All those guys are going to be on the same page, just like all our guys are going to be on the same page. And So it's going to come down to a play here or a play there, and who can make those little winning plays, and then which guy can step up and make a big shot in the right moment.
Jerome, as always, thanks. I appreciate the access. Jerome Tang, associate head coach at Baylor. Coach, good luck tonight.
All right, thank you very much.
SicEm365 Radio.
There is David Smoak with Baylor assistant coach Jerome Tang. A little extra preview for tonight's big matchup in Austin. Just waiting for it at this point, Grayson. Just waiting for this thing to get underway, and we are a little over an hour, but now under an hour and a half away from tip-off time, so not too much more of a wait coming up. But a lot of good stuff there from Coach Tang, as always. He's a head coach in the future for sure, and just been a real blessing for this basketball program.
Yeah, and you wonder how much longer he's going to be an assistant, because he just seems due. And especially with the season that they're having. But he also seems like another Baylor coach who just seems to love Baylor. Mm-hmm. And it just seems to be a perfect fit for him culturally. And I love hearing from him. He's always so insightful on the matchups and also just insightful on the program. And it really just shows who he is as a person very often, which I like to see. And, I mean, we're under an hour and a half. This game is going to be the biggest game of the week, one of the biggest games of the college basketball season. So I can't wait for it to kick off, and tip off.
Yeah.
But very, very excited for this. I think this could be an opportunity for Baylor to make an emphatic statement on the conference and really put themselves in a position to maybe go undefeated this year, which is pretty crazy, and I kind of hope they don't, because usually that doesn't work out too well for teams once they reach the tournament. But it's definitely an opportunity if they go take care of business today.
No doubt about it. So here we are, under an hour and a half to go, 6 o'clock the tip-off time. Baylor and Texas, number 2 versus number 6 down in Austin. And we talked to AD Mack Rhoades earlier. He will not be making the trip. Superstition is the reason why, although he did say that, you know, if they run the table and then get into the tournament, he will eventually attend a road game. But tonight will not be the first time, and probably a smart move. Did see where a little minor recruiting note here. Not really so minor if you're a Texas fan, quite frankly, but Jaden Blue, class of 2022 running back, commits to UT. Where's he kind of – obviously a big pickup, 4-star guy, had a bunch of big offers, but can you tell us about Jaden Blue?
Yeah, he's a stud, and it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that it was probably going to be Texas or LSU. I know A&M was probably a little bit in on that one as well, but it's early. He's a 2022 kid. There's still time for him to flip, but he's on a team in Klein Kane that is very potent offensively. They have a really good wide receiver as well, Matthew Golden. So he's a very good player, very talented, and one of those guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield along with make people miss in the run game. He's just very electric in the open field, and he's just got that ability to seemingly break tackles at will, which just has a lot to do with his balance and quickness. So good pickup for Sarkisian down there at Texas, but we'll see if they're able to hold on to him. And truthfully, Texas's problem hasn't been recruiting the athletes, the position players. Their issue is they can't recruit the trenches at all. They've had major problems recruiting the offensive and defensive line. So it may just be another really good player, or it could be a superstar. We'll see.
Could be is it Whittington, or he could be Bijan Robinson. Yeah, I don't know. But just a little recruiting note there for those who keep up with such things. And speaking of recruiting, you know, Baylor is not expected. Tomorrow's National Signing Day. They're not expected to add anybody. That's why we're not talking a great deal about it, because there's nothing to really talk about. They're perusing the transfer wire. They're looking at the transfer portal, but they're also becoming very effective at grabbing some preferred walk-ons. And coming up next, one of those guys who's announced that he will be joining the Baylor program as a walk-on, Josh Cameron of Cedar Park made his announcement. He's going to be a Baylor Bear, and he will join us next to talk about that decision. This is SicEm365 Radio.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
Well, as the Baylor football roster continues to turn over, they have been very active in putting out offers over the last few weeks and trying to play a little bit of catch-up with this new coaching staff. But we've also seen a rush of good news when it comes to some guys choosing to be preferred walk-ons with this Baylor football program. And thrilled to be joined right now by one of those young men who made his announcement just a little while ago, a few hours ago, earlier today, that he will be joining the Baylor football program. Cedar Park wide receiver Josh Cameron joins us now on SicEm365 Radio. 1,235 receiving yards, 89 catches, 14 touchdowns, 7 two-point conversions, unanimous first-team all-district his senior year. And Josh, we do appreciate your time. Young man, you made that call or made that tweet earlier today. How are you feeling after making your announcement that you're going to be a Baylor Bear?
Man, I'm feeling great, honestly. I'm honestly kind of glad that it got a little stressful at times. So yeah, I'm real stoked for sure.
Josh, I know you had built a really good relationship with Chauncey Stuckey and David Wetzel during your recruitment process. Can you kind of talk about those two guys and just the role that they played and just kind of what led you to Baylor after talking to them?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, back in, I'd say the beginning of December, that's when I made the connection with Coach Wetzel. That's when we started connecting. Kind of talking before games, after games, all that good stuff. And so, yeah, he's a real great guy for sure. Definitely felt that he really believed in me, in my athletic ability. And then Coach Stuckey, he's a real Christian faith guy, and I definitely definitely felt a strong presence from him. He said he loved my film, and I definitely like him as a father, as a leader, as all of that. I'm definitely real excited to get behind him and see where he takes me, really.
We've heard we're getting to know Chancey Stuckey a little bit ourselves. Obviously, he just got the job like a month or so ago at this point, but we've heard so many incredible things about just his personality and what kind of the things that you talked about that kind of made you feel this would be the right fit for you.
I'd say really the main thing I look at was like more like a family aspect, because I'm a real big family guy. So with him contacting my parents, talking to my parents, talking to me, I just definitely felt something where it felt kind of natural, like he was already a part of our family, and we were just getting to know him at the time. But yeah, we've had numerous great conversations, and that family aspect is just the main thing that really sticks out with him for sure.
Josh, do you feel like, I guess 2 questions here. Do you feel like COVID influenced or hindered your recruitment at all, just from a camps and visits perspective? Then also, do you view yourself as a guy who can definitely play at the Power 5 level and potentially earn a scholarship in his time at Baylor?
I'd say with the whole COVID situation, I'd say it not only affected me, but even a lot of my teammates, honestly. I mean, look at my quarterback, Ryder Hernandez. He had, let me think, over 4,200 passing yards or something ridiculous like that. And he was just kind of slept on throughout the process. But yeah, I think it did affect me just a little bit, not being able to go to camps and stuff. But yeah, a lot of people were definitely in that same boat, for sure. And then playing at the Power 5 level, I've really just been dreaming about that for a very long time. I've been working. I've been hitting up numerous coaches, seeing what's the deal. And Baylor, they took a shot at me, and yeah, I definitely think I can play, no doubt.
What is your kind of plan now? What's the sort of, I guess, the next few months entail for you as far as like getting to campus? What are you going to be working on? What kind of have you been told as far as all that goes?
Mm-hmm. So I'm planning on coming up there around the June time. We haven't finalized all the details yet, but they said pretty much June. And then in terms of like college, I plan on studying management information systems. My brother, he actually went to Baylor and graduated it back in 2018. So that's where we have the little Baylor connection, and he told me a lot about Baylor and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna be grinding, working these next couple months, and just see what happens when I get up there, honestly.
During your conversations with David Wetzel, did he ever mention just kind of the I don't know, this surge in PWO offers and just kind of the emphasis that it seems like this staff is putting on those offers? Just kind of any backstory or thoughts that Wetzel has maybe said about that?
He has said that with this staff that they really do like PWOs. He feels like those guys are guys who really, really like to work, and I believe I'm one of those guys. And yeah, he definitely said with this staff, they definitely like their PWOs, no doubt.
Josh, what would you describe your game as? What are your strengths? What are maybe some areas that you feel that you need to maybe improve slightly or whatever? What does Baylor, I should say, get with Josh Cameron?
I believe Baylor gets a real physical, strong, fast receiver. A guy with very large hands. I have 10-inch hands. I wear like 2X size gloves. People always told me about how big my hands are. So definitely a big target for sure. Very long wingspan. In terms of improving, I'd say probably just trying to get more fluid with my running and just take that up to the next level.
Josh, I know that this season was an amazing one for y'all at Cedar Park, 14-1. Mm-hmm. I know it didn't end the way y'all hoped against Denton Ryan, who, you know, they're one of the best teams in the state, so there's no shame in that. But what did you think of this year, and just kind of your thoughts and as you look back on what was really an awesome season for y'all?
Oh, it was definitely a season to remember. I'm definitely not going to forget that season for sure. I mean, I wasn't even the only big receiver. We had, 3 guys with over 1,000 receiving yards and over 10 touchdowns. Me, Jack Hystera, and then Gunnar Absick. So it was definitely lots of great memories. With my guys, and it was definitely a real fun season.
What's like kind of the mentality right now? Is it strange to be sort of focusing on life after high school, after, being so a part of the community and kind of moving forward? Is that something that excites you a lot? Is it something that's kind of nerve-wracking? Where do you kind of view that?
I'd say if you really don't feel nervous about taking a big step going on to college, that you're insane, not human. So yeah, I'll definitely say there's a little bit of nervousness there, but really I'd say there's a lot of excitement as well. Just seeing what I can do with my life, and just seeing what the rest of my life entails. Because this isn't, like they always say, this isn't a 4-year decision; it's a 40-year decision. So yeah,
right.
There's definitely nervousness, and then there's definitely a lot of excitement for sure.
Yeah, Josh, did you ever get to watch Baylor at all this year? Did you get a chance to see what they were doing and kind of have any thoughts on their season? I know it was a little bit of a struggle, but did you watch them at all?
Yes, sir. I was watching a little bit here and there. I definitely say it was a rough season. It happens, but I believe with the new coaching staff, I think they can really turn things around.
Yeah, they've been hard at work, obviously, and they saw something in you. What was that like? Like, how did you first find out they were reaching out to you, and what was just kind of your immediate reaction? I know you said you talked to David Wetzel and then eventually Chancey Stuckey as well, but like, did you have any idea that this opportunity was going to present itself? Like, what was kind of your plan before Baylor came calling?
So before Baylor, I had other D2 opportunities, actually. Some schools like Augustana, UT Permian Basin, and yeah, those are like the main. And then I sent the email to Baylor, just sending them my film, just sending it out to different coaches, different D1 programs, and Baylor responded. And Coach Wetzel, he said he really liked my film, and then after that, that's where it really just took off from there.
Was that pretty exciting? I have to imagine that's pretty cool. Like, obviously, you're proactive, man. That's smart. You sent out your film like, hey, give me a look, and next thing you know, Baylor's calling, man. And then the connection with your brother, it's just kind of seems like it's meant to be, huh?
Yes, sir. No doubt.
So, Josh, I know a popular question that I feel like everyone wants to ask recruits when they, decide to end up at Baylor is, do you know what your 40 time or your vertical is?
My 40 time is a 4.6, and then vertical is 33 inches.
Okay, and then this spring, are you going to be doing any track, or is it just all focused on football right now?
I am going to be actually running some track. I'm probably going to be doing the 200, and then probably long and triple. Those are probably my main and best events. I actually just recently had surgery for my appendix, because that whole thing was a little crazy, but I'll be back and running in no time for sure here in a couple weeks.
Had to get the appendix removed, huh?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Just kind of felt some pain, and then went to the doctor, and they said it was the early signs of appendicitis, so they caught it real early. So I'm already jogging here in a little bit, walking, doing all that.
That's a good deal, man. I mean, good thing you caught it early, because I know that's going to be a very painful type of thing to have to go through. So that's great. We're sitting here talking with Josh Cameron, Baylor's newest preferred wide receiver commit, and he'll be heading to the Bears this summer. Josh, just trying to enjoy the high school life kind of as much as you can while also preparing for the future at this point. I mean, you just mentioned running track and doing all that, but you're kind of just trying to take in these last few months of high school right now?
Yes, sir. No doubt. Definitely going to be spending time with friends and hanging out, and then just finishing school real strong.
So just curious, I know there's nobody from Cedar Park on the roster right now, but do you know any of the current Baylor players or maybe even the recruits? Do you have any kind of ties whatsoever? Is it going to be kind of brand new sledding for you?
I actually do. So I played with Devin Lemire. He's a safety out of Manor.
Yeah.
We've been playing AAU basketball ever since, I believe, sixth grade. So we definitely have a real strong connection. So yeah, we go pretty far back.
Yeah, and y'all played them in the playoffs last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How was that, going up against him in a big matchup? I know they came out victorious, but it was a really close game, right?
Mm-hmm. It was definitely a fun game. Well, we actually everybody remembered that game. So all throughout off season, training, all that good stuff, everybody was always talking about that third round and that we're going to get over that third round, and we made it happen.
Well, Josh, big congratulations, man, on the announcement today. You're going to be a Baylor Bear. Preferred walk-on wide receiver. Great that David Wetzel reached out to you, and then Coach Stuckey as well. Heard nothing but good. I mean, Wetzel's been around here for a while now, and he's nothing but first class. And based on what we know about Coach Stuckey, he is as well. So, man, very excited for you, happy for you, and I look forward to covering you here over the next few years, man, once you arrive in Waco and get to work. But certainly enjoy your last couple months of high school and playing sports in high school and doing all that, man. But we'll be glad to welcome you here in a little while. So congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. There's Josh Cameron, wide receiver from Cedar Park, who announced today that he will be attending Baylor as a preferred walk-on. What does that bring the total to now? There's been at least 2 to 3, right, that they brought into the fold?
I got a list for you.
Okay, well, do we even have time for that? Probably not.
I'll just say the total number. I think they're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're up to 10.
Okay.
PWOs accepted. Now, I don't know how many more they're going to take, and there are still a few out there, but yeah, it's a pretty big PWO class, and I don't know that we've seen one like this.
Not
I don't
that I
think
can
we
recall.
have. So they're putting an emphasis on it for sure.
I want to say with like the Bryles teams that maybe there was occasionally a guy. I don't quite recall, but it definitely wasn't like a large number. With the Rule teams, there were some guys here and there.
And it wasn't really advertised.
But it wasn't,
much.
it wasn't like, hey, he's a preferred walk-on or like that. And that's something the staff has done a little bit differently. And, Josh Cameron, I mean, you saw the film while he was on with us. Looks good. Has massive hands, 10-inch hands. My gosh.
Oh, did you see his 2-point conversions, how they were running it?
I meant to ask him about that. Dadgummit.
But if you saw it in his clips, I'm assuming what it was because it was pretty much ran like 4 times where he just caught the little shuffle pass from the quarterback and ran in for a touchdown just on the right end. So pretty interesting trick play there, and that's something that's become pretty popular in the NFL and a little bit in college as well.
Yeah, I was looking at a tweet that he had sent out from his film a while back on his senior film and was reading over the stats he had on there. And the one that really stood out to me was 7 2-point conversions. I was like, geez, Louise.
Specialist.
Yeah, I was like, who has 7 2-point conversions? But okay, that makes a lot more sense. And nice job, Armstrong, Jack, and Rob behind the scenes having that film up for us to watch alongside Josh Cameron. That's a really nice touch as well. So I'm seeing a lot of congratulations for him. Well-liked guy. Already knows what his degree is going to be in, which is always a great thing to already have kind of figured out because not a lot of people normally do necessarily. But he already has his kind of path set in front of him, and they liked what they saw, and he liked what they had to say. So congrats to Josh Cameron, again, wide receiver, Cedar Park, newest Baylor, PWO, preferred walk-on, wide receiver commit. He'll be heading to Waco here in a couple of months, and we do appreciate his time. Coming up next, our final hour, and our final hour today means there is 1 hour to go until tip-off in Austin between number 2 Baylor and number 6 Texas. We'll talk a little bit about that, but we're going to talk some NFL coming up as David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com is expected to join us, talk a little Cowboys, and also John McClain of the Houston Chronicle is expected to be with us, which with John, we can kind of grab bag it and talk about Rockets, Astros, Texans, whatever. Texans have had a really boring offseason. There's really nothing to talk about there whatsoever. Nothing going on in Houston with the Texans right now. Yeah. So we will talk some Cowboys with David Hellman and some everything with John McClain. Houston Chronicle coming up next. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Brady throws, end zone. He's got Evans for the touchdown.
Super Bowl 55 in Tampa, Florida, and SicEm365 Radio will be live at NFL Media Headquarters in Radio Row, Wednesday through Friday from 3 until 6. Hi, this is David Smoak. Join Paul, Catalina, and me for daily news and notes on the Buccaneers and Chiefs, interviews with players, coaches, and personalities.
The presenting sponsor of Super Bowl 55 coverage from Tampa, Florida on SicEm365 Radio is Marco's Pizza, pizza for pizza lovers, with locations in Woodway, China Spring, and Belmead.
Here's Mahomes. Look at underhanded. He throws it for the touchdown. How about that throw?
Little underhand.
Also brought to you by IdealMRI.com, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Waco Custom Marketplace, Boozer's Jewelers, Stonewood Dental, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac.
Here's the fake toss. Able to get away and find Hill at the 35-30. Hill inside the 20.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Petty Clinic Low T, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, and Impact Health Labs.
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown! Scotty Miller!
Buccaneers and Chiefs in Super Bowl 55 in Tampa, and we're live Wednesday through Friday, 3 until 6 from NFL Media Headquarters on SicEm365 Radio.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Start the new year with a new Ram truck from Allen Samuels. Ram's impressive towing capability, heavy-duty payload capacity, and smooth ride have earned Ram the Motor Trend Truck of the Year yet again. That's 3 years in a row. Check out the new 2021 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with up to $7,250 in total value. Or take advantage of 0% for 60 or 2.9% for 72 and get $3,000 in rebates. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. Shop now at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Gets the touchdown.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's Craig Smoak and Grayson Grundhafer.
Welcome in the 5 o'clock hour here on SicEm365 Radio. Craig Smoak, Grayson Grundhafer, David Smoak, Paul Catalina en route to the Sunshine State. They'll be broadcasting beginning tomorrow from the Tampa area. Not quite sure where they'll be set up just yet, but and whatever Radio Row is going to look like. And a guy who knows a thing or two about Radio Row and just the constant media coverage that surrounds the Super Bowl is our next guest, David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com. Joins us now on SicEm365 Radio. And David, I have no idea what's in store for Paul and Smokey when they arrive at Tampa, but I can't imagine Radio Row, really anything kind of surrounding the Super Bowl is all that normal this year, which just kind of goes with the flow of the last year or so, I suppose.
Yeah, and very selfishly, from my perspective, I'm not that unhappy about it. If I was covering the Super Bowl, I'd probably feel differently. But I think of this week, in a normal year, everybody in the league goes down there and gives a million interviews. And it's like every day of the week, it's like, did you hear what Troy Aikman said? Did you hear what Jimmy Johnson said? Did you hear what Dak Prescott said? Did you hear what Zeke said? It's like just a nonstop avalanche of quotes and news coming out of all of these interviews that guys are giving. And, if it's a little bit quieter this week because of the pandemic, I'm not super unhappy about that.
No, I'm in full. There's a reason why I'm still in Texas. I had the option. I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to sit this one out, but you guys go right ahead. Well, we're fresh off of, Senior Bowl last week and had the game. Your thoughts as, a draft guy, obviously looking at who some future Cowboys might be. Your thoughts coming out of the Senior Bowl this past week?
I think more so than anything, and I've known this, but I crunched the numbers over the weekend, and we've known for a while that the Cowboys really value the Senior Bowl, and we know that, under Will McClay, they value big players from big schools who have performed on the big stage. I think they feel like it mitigates the risk if you know that a guy is kind of used to the limelight. And, watching the Senior Bowl, like I said, I've read numbers, and, they've drafted 16 Senior Bowl players over the last half a dozen years and found another handful in undrafted free agency. So it's clearly something that they value. And in a year like this where there's so little information to go on, I wonder if they'll value that even more so. So, I couldn't hope to tell you who it'll be, but I would feel comfortable betting that somebody that played in Mobile on Saturday will be on this team by the end of the spring.
Yeah, David, do you think that that's an advantage, though, that the Cowboys have, recruited guys or brought in guys from the Senior Bowl, especially in a year where there isn't an NFL combine? Do you think this could play in the Cowboys' favor potentially?
I don't know how much it really plays in their favor because everybody at the Senior Bowl has the same access. And honestly, one of the big advantages that the Cowboys do have, as far as I understand it, is kind of nullified this year. Typically, NFL teams are allowed to bring in prospects from within a 30 or 40 mile radius of their facility, and it doesn't count toward their visit totals. And obviously, you think about a city like Dallas-Fort Worth, there's a million amazing football players that come out of this place. And that is a huge advantage for them in a normal year because there's just dozens of guys that happen to be from the area. But with the league saying that that's not on the table this year, it's kind of a handicap. And, it's just another in the long line of things that they're not going to be able to take advantage of this year.
So what will the coming weeks look like? Because obviously there's no combine, so there's going to be some pro days here and there. But, from the Cowboys' perspective, are they going to be sending guys out to pro days? I suppose that would be a given. But kind of what's their plan in leading up to the draft with the sort of odd lead up that we do have this time around?
So, yeah, the details are still kind of forthcoming. There is going to be a combine of some sort. If you're on social media, you'll see some of these prospects posting their invitation letters. It's not going to be at the normal time, and it's not going to be as big. But I think the league is going to have some regionalized sites where they try to get these guys in one place and give them some medical evaluations, let them do their measurements and basic things like that. There's not going to be any on-field workouts. And then I think it's going to be a big play-it-by-ear thing with the pro days as well. But, yeah, anywhere, if there are pro days happening, I think every team in the league is going to be sending their guys to them. And, it's unfortunate because, the combine was the last normal thing that happened before the world kind of fell apart last year. Mm-hmm. And so as challenging as that was last year, at least you had that little bit of information. And I think this year it's just going to be a little bit more staggered. I think it's going to take a few weeks longer, and you're going to need more patience to put that information together. But I guess on the bright side, you do have the fresh experience of having to do so much of this virtually last year that at least it's not a completely new experience.
David, there was an article on ESPN today by Todd Archer talking about Dallas. It was kind of rehashing another article, but it was talking about Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl dreams and that they're basically 2 years away from a Super Bowl. What is your take on that as far as these next few years for Dallas? Do you think it could be sooner, or do you think it's going to be longer than that?
History says it would be a mistake to bet on sooner, given that it's been, 26 years since the last one. But what I've learned in this league is, I always say this, in any given year, there's 3 or 4 teams that are obviously better than everybody, and there's 3 or 4 teams that are obviously worse, and everybody else is sort of jumbled on top of each other. And obviously that's why we love it. There's so much parity and there's so much fluctuation from year to year. The 49ers picked second in the draft the same year that they made the Super Bowl last year. I know, a big part of it is that they signed Tom Brady. That's obviously huge. But again, the Bucs had the longest playoff drought in the league heading into this season, and now they're playing in the Super Bowl. So, like I said, I think it would be silly to say it'll be sooner than 2 years because it's been so long. But at the same time, I just don't, unless you're the Jacksonville Jaguars or the New York Jets, I don't think anybody is ever that far away from getting into that, from being in striking distance of making the Super Bowl. You're only ever one smart free agency signing or one amazing draft pick away. So, if they find a way to, get Dak under contract and have another great draft, I don't think this team is terribly far away. I'm not, not to say that they're going to make the Super Bowl in 2021, but I certainly think they're only a handful of smart moves away from being in that conversation.
What were your thoughts on the big trade with Jared Goff going to Detroit, Matthew Stafford switching places with him joining the Rams, and how many emails have you gotten about trade scenarios involving Dak and some super switch like the one we saw a couple of days ago?
Well, I guess just as a Cowboys writer, my initial thought was, there goes some of the intrigue about Matt Stafford, because I was fully prepared, not to say that the Cowboys were going to trade for him, but I thought it was going to drag out a little bit longer, and I thought that the Cowboys would kind of be linked to it, at least in the media, not necessarily for real. I kind of thought it was going to be a lot more dramatic, and then, Detroit pulled the trigger very, very quickly. So that kind of takes the storyline off the table for the Cowboys. And then on top of that, it's just a reminder that, everybody wants to find the next Pat Mahomes, but Jared Goff went number 1 overall in his draft and, got traded 2 years after signing a contract extension. I know it's been beaten into the dirt at this point, but Dak is the only quarterback left from his class that hasn't either been benched or, changed teams at some point during his contract. So it's just a reminder that it's easy to say you want to upgrade the quarterback position. It's a lot easier said than done, though. And yes, I've gotten, a million emails and suggestions about different, like why weren't the Cowboys involved with that? Maybe, could this be the parameter for a Deshaun Watson deal? But honestly, those types of emails tend to come in all year round, regardless of what's going on anyway. So nothing new.
Yeah, I was going to ask you kind of about that because, they had to trade so much to get Matthew Stafford that it would only make sense that a team that has a quarterback that's proven, at least a proven top 10 quarterback, people will argue even higher than that, that the team would just, automatically want them so that you didn't have to pay the price to go get another one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's wild to think, the Rams have been in the playoffs, 3 straight years. They made it to the Super Bowl, and they paid a lot to upgrade their quarterback position, which they clearly thought they needed to do if they were going to win a Super Bowl. And again, that's kind of my point is, even if you're not sold on Dak Prescott, there are no guarantees in this league when it comes to that position. For that, I mean, Deshaun Watson, he's an amazing player. He's not a bust by any stretch of the imagination, but somehow Houston found a way to sour that relationship as well, despite the fact that he's very clearly lived up to his draft stock. So, and for that matter, that's why you don't see this stuff happen that often. Good quarterbacks don't change hands very frequently because decision makers in this league know how hard they are to find. So that creates a very, it's a very interesting scenario where, it's fair to say, the Cowboys have, it's fair to say that they haven't been sold on Dak because they've had 2 years to sign him and haven't done it. But at the same time, stuff like that can scare you and be like, man, again, these guys are hard to find and maybe we should think about that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that influences whatever decisions they make over the next month or two.
What do you think about the NCAA football game coming back in a couple years?
Man, I'm so excited. Like, I feel like everybody, and I mean, I'm still really excited, but at the same time, I'm like, geez, we got to wait 2 years before this thing's available. Come on. I mean, we're all sitting around with nothing to do. I put it out now. And I mean, I know that's, way easier said than done too, but I was ready to jump through the roof when I saw the news, and then I read a little bit more and I was like, oh, all right. So we'll see this 5 years from now, but still, I mean, it's still really exciting that it'll be back for sure.
No doubt. Any prediction on the game this weekend? Who you got, Chiefs, or are you going with the good old NFC side of things?
Man. I mean, it feels like a mistake to bet against Tom Brady at this point, but I think the world of Mahomes, and I think they're the overall better team. So I hope it's a great game. But I got the Chiefs, and selfishly again, I think there's 6 LSU players in the game, and there's 3 on each side. So, somebody from LSU will benefit no matter what happens. So that works for me.
And someone in the LSU athletic department's already got the graphic ready to go on Sunday night.
Oh, absolutely. They've got, it's like Leonard Fournette and Devin White are on one side, and Tyrann Mathieu and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are on the other. So, yeah, they made that stuff like weeks ago, I'm sure.
No doubt. Well, hey, David, really appreciate your time. You can find him on Twitter at HellmanDC, and, of course, a lot of good stuff over on DallasCowboys.com as well. You can check out the draft show for all your draft news talk needs when it comes to the Cowboys as well. You can find that over at DallasCowboys.com. David, thanks so much, man. Have a great week.
Appreciate it, y'all. Take care.
Thanks a lot. There is David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com, here with us on SicEm365 Radio, and he was bringing up the draft class that Dak was a part of. And, man, this Dak, I don't know about you, Grayson. I've ranted on it on this show before, but just the most boring story at this point, the story that will never end is the Dak Prescott, will he, won't he, be with the Cowboys for the next several years storyline.
And it's gonna have the most boring conclusion too, because he's just gonna re-sign with Dallas.
Probably, yeah. I mean, that's gonna be the ultimate outcome is he's gonna re-sign with Dallas, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, okay, well, it's just taking a little bit longer than I think people wanted it to. But I should have asked him about Jason Witten. Dadgummit, Jason Witten getting the high school job this week. Should have asked him.
Christian, right?
Yeah. So
good job.
Well, yeah, they're pretty solid program.
6A, so they're pretty good. They've had some nice seasons, but yeah, I think he'll do a pretty good job there. And It's interesting because obviously since I'm a Colts fan, I followed them pretty religiously, and Phillip Rivers kind of took a high school coaching job this past summer, actually, and now he's going to be a high school coach as well. And then to see Jason Witten doing it, it's pretty cool to see these guys having high school jobs lined up, and I'm sure that's going to be big for those kids who they're coaching and for those programs as well.
For sure. Here was the tweet he put out a couple of days ago. Jared, from that same draft class, Jared Goff now traded to Detroit. Carson Wentz benched for Jalen Hurts. Paxton Lynch isn't in the NFL anymore, nor is Christian Hackenberg. Jacoby Brissett went from starter in Indy to backup very quickly, and now he's going to be a free agent this offseason, so who knows with him. Connor Cook, not in the league. So Cook, Lynch, and Hackenberg not in the league at all at this point. And then there's Dak Prescott, and that's the list. He had Cody Kessler, who was a third-round pick, who is also out of the league.
And Connor Cook that's a name right there for Baylor fans. They remember that name from the Cotton Bowl because Connor Cook had one of his best performances of his career late in that game. Wow. There's a couple of names on there. Christian Hackenberg, who was like the number 1 overall pick projected before his junior year.
I last saw Christian Hackenberg. I was down in Greater Austin, like more of the Round Rock area for the Spring League. And he was when Johnny Manziel was in the league, and then Christian Hackenberg was in the league. And, that was some. I mean, that was a cool deal. It was cool for what it was, but I remember seeing Christian Hackenberg out there at that point in time. And David also had on that list all those guys who, like, half the list is already out of the NFL, but those are the players taken before Dak Prescott, to be more specific. The players taken after Dak Prescott: Cardale Jones, Kevin Hogan, Nate Sudfeld, Brandon Allen, Jeff Driscoll, Brandon Doughty, either out of the league or backup. So he's one of the last few standing. We'll see what happens with Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. Jared Goff, obviously we'll see what he has in Detroit, and Jacoby Brissett will be a backup somewhere, and that's pretty much it, man. Like that's kind of the list of all those quarterbacks, of those 10 or so names that we mentioned from either being drafted before or after Dak Prescott that same season. So he's going to get his money. He's just a matter of when, and I know we're all anxiously awaiting that becoming official so we can all move on with our lives and not have to ask Dak Prescott contract questions anymore. So thanks to David. Again, you can check him out more on DallasCowboys.com. But there's also a lot going on in the city of Houston. One of those, bright young quarterbacks in the league has been at the top of the headlines, and not in a good way for the city of Houston, and that's been Deshaun Watson. Haven't really heard a whole lot in the last couple of days. It's kind of like simmered a little bit. I mean, it's still very much out there, but there's not like anything pending, it feels like.
It's rumors and landing spots and who could offer the most in a trade, and I'm sure John McClain's going to have a lot more on that. Yeah, so we will talk all things NFL, but also dabble perhaps a little bit in the Houston Rockets and more. Coming up with the great John McClain. He'll join us next. This is SicEm365 Radio.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
All right. Almost 5:30 here on SicEm365 Radio. We're hoping to be joined by John McClain, Houston Chronicle, here momentarily, working on him. And in fact, he joins us now on SicEm365 Radio. Craig Smoak, Grayson Grundhafer, Smokey, and Paul Catalina will be broadcasting from Super Bowl tomorrow, beginning tomorrow, and have shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I'd imagine a little bit of coverage on the weekend as well. But, John, do appreciate your time as always. What's your anticipation level? What's your excitement level? I know you've seen a million Super Bowls, but your thoughts on the matchup coming up this weekend?
Well, I have seen a million of them. I will not see this one in person. I wouldn't have anything to do with the Super Bowl because of COVID-19. And but I'll tell you, there have been few where I would like to see both teams win. The Chiefs, of course, because of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, would love to see them become the first team to repeat since the Patriots after the 03 and 04 season. And then I'd love to see Bruce Arians at 68 win his first Super Bowl and Tom Brady to win his 7th and his 10th appearance. To me, you just can't go wrong. I look forward to a great game, a lot of offense, greatest quarterback in history versus the greatest quarterback today.
Yeah, John, I was curious if you took note of the trade that happened, I guess, a few days ago, Matthew Stafford going to the Rams, and just kind of thoughts on that trade, and then also the thoughts on kind of that impact on, of course, Deshaun Watson possibly being traded from the Texans.
Well, first of all, that trade would have nothing to do with Watson. That trade would be chicken feed compared to what
right.
the Texans would be asking for Watson. There's never been a quarterback 25 years old under contract through 2025 coming off his best season and was traded. And the real reason that the trade was made between the Rams and the Lions, and the Rams paid dearly, they wanted to get out from under Jared Goff's contract. So they gave up 2 ones, which looked to be low ones, and a 3. And, of course, Goff for Matthew Stafford, who's 33 and has 2 years left on his contract. But today, all quarterbacks want to play into their 40s So he might play another 7 or 8 years. So I think the Rams will benefit. The Lions, who are perennially awful, will probably screw it up. But they have a new regime there. More power to them. Texans swear they're not trading Watson. And if they're going to, though, to me, they would have to do it right up to April 29th, first day of the draft. Because if they don't, and they let it drag out, and they let him dig in and miss time, say training camp season, off-season program, he's going to lose millions and millions of dollars. And if they were to force him to come in, it would be ugly, nasty, just like James Harden's exit was from the Rockets. And if, say, you trade him next year, then you got to wait till 2022 for draft choices, and that quarterback draft is not shaping up anywhere near like this one is. So I think they should go to the last minute, see if they can change his mind. If they can't, trade him, start with the Jets. He wants to go to New York. Trade him to the Jets. Get the Jets 2 1s and 2 2s the next 2 years and get their 2 best defensive starters in Quinnen Williams and safety Marcus May. Get 6 players out of it. Make the trade. Those picks next year with the Jets should be high because they're terrible. Texans should be terrible. Their picks should be high. So it would help rebuild, and they could do it was say it was Zach Wilson. It won't be Justin Fields from Ohio State, I can tell you, because his agent, David Mullicana, is Watson's agent.
John, saw your piece on Robert Griffin III talking about David Culley. What have you kind of learned more about Culley, and what did RG3 have to say that was of interest to you?
Well, I like the fact that Griffin, he played with him for 2 years in Robert's last 2 years there, and Robert talked the way he dealt with players, how the players felt about him. We had seen a lot from what coaches thought, but I was interested to see what a player thought, who had seen him in action behind the scenes, in practice, on game days, and of course he just raved about him, and everybody has. And so people say, well, why has he never been even interviewed? Why has he never been a coordinator? Well, Andy Reid wasn't a coordinator. John Harbaugh was a special teams coach when he got hired. You don't need to be a coordinator to be a head coach. But, and if he does well, he's 65 years old. If he does well, then, boy, the teams that never interviewed him are going to look bad for not interviewing him. If he falls on his face, then he'll get fired. But as it is, Culley at 65, he's got a 5-year contract. Nick Caserio, the GM who hired him, has a 6-year contract. So they know they got some rebuilding to do, especially if they have to trade Deshaun Watson. One of the reasons they like Culley is he has a great personality, great energy. He's a leader. He can command the room. And so they're hoping that if he and Watson will ever return their calls, they can meet, and maybe Culley can sell him on the new regime.
John, did you pay much attention to the Senior Bowl this weekend? And if so, did anything stand out to you?
I really didn't. Texans don't have first and second round picks. I got my hands full with them. I was interested in Sam Mellinger because I'm interested to see where he and Kellen Mond end up. Mond was MVP because I watched those 2 quarterbacks, and it's a really good quarterback draft, and they're not anywhere near close to the top guys. But I am interested to see if they end up going like 3rd, 4th, 5th round. And it's going to be harder to prove yourself this year because they're not have a combine. You're not going to have private workouts like you ordinarily do. You'll have a pro day. But it was smart to go to the Senior Bowl because you had a chance to talk to a lot of people who will figure into the draft equation.
John, looking at the game itself, what are kind of your opinions on, who you see emerging from this game? I mean, I know it's exciting storyline-wise, but do you have like a team that you're ready to pick already?
You talking about for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm picking Kansas City. I'm not going against Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, if you said that, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't go against Mahomes. The Bucs are the first team to play the Super Bowl at home. They were 5-3 at Raymond James Stadium this year, won 3 consecutive games on the road in the playoffs. Tampa Bay has the better defense. Kansas City has a better offense. And I think Andy Reid's a better coach than Bruce Arians. But, man, you got Brady at 43 saying he'll play another 2 or 3 years if he can keep playing the way he is. I certainly wouldn't doubt him. I think it's just a tremendous matchup with all kind of intrigue.
John, I know you mentioned the Texans not having first and second round picks. So how tough is this for David Culley to come in? Not only is there so much uncertainty at the quarterback position, but also not really having the current draft capital to really make, huge moves going forward. And what do you think the Texans need to address in these, kind of later rounds?
They're also got cap issues. Now, if the cap's $180 million, which people are predicting they'll be $10 million over, I think they're going to trade or cut J.J. Watt. That would free up $17.5 million. Let Watt go somewhere else at 32 after everything he's done here. Try to get him to a Super Bowl contender, ideally to the Steelers, where he could go play with his 2 younger brothers. So that would take care of the cap problem. I believe they will cut some other veteran players. Difficult decisions have to be made when you're awful and you have a new coach and a general manager. They have 8 draft choices as it is. They could trade a couple players like Watt, end up about 10. I don't think they could get a first or second round pick for Watt. Now, if they traded Watson to the Jets have 2 ones. They have 2 ones theirs, second overall, then Seattle's, and they also have a high 2. So maybe they say, okay, give us your 2 ones and your 2. That would not be enough, of course. But I always say you start with the Jets, and Miami picks third because they have third overall pick came from the Texans in the trade for Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills. And if you get the Jets and Dolphins bidding against each other for a quarterback that might help them win that division over Buffalo, you might get more out of it. So I think Nick Caserio could acquire more draft choices. But Culley, it's a good thing he's got a 5-year contract because he's going to need it because they got a lot of issues. And if they can't talk Watson back off the ledge, they're going to be bad for 2 or 3 years, I would imagine.
John, what has life post James Harden been like for Houston basketball fans?
Well, they've won, 5 or 6 in a row. People are really fired up. They didn't have their regular lineup like a lot of teams for a long time because of COVID-19 issues. Steven Silas is doing a tremendous job. It's so weird to read about them last night in Oklahoma City setting a record for shooting threes. Those were the style of play they had under Mike D'Antoni, not Steven Silas. And right now, they're a young team. They're 10-9 with a winning streak, and people are really excited about them.
Yeah, and John, I was going to ask just a little bit about that roster. Christian Wood seems to be a guy that's really come into his own. Of course, John Wall playing really well, but specifically Christian Wood, is he a guy that you think the Rockets can kind of build around for the future?
Christian Wood is a big man, and he came and he's been averaging almost double figures in rebounds. He's close to 20 points a game. They've had some blowouts in which they had 7 or 8 guys in double figures last night. None of them played a whole lot because they were rotating so many guys. But he is a steal. Rafael Stone, a longtime general counsel for the team who worked closely with former general manager Daryl Morey, they promoted him. He made some deals, including the one for Wood. It looks like it was gold. DeMarcus Cousins hit, I think, like 3 or 4 3-point shots last night. He and John Wall have been out with injuries for so long. It's amazing they've been able to come back as fast as they have and as consistently as they have. But Christian Wood is certainly a player to keep an eye on.
Grayson, anything else?
No, that's all.
All right, John. Well, we do appreciate your time as always. Obviously, very busy times in the city of Houston, and you're the go-to. So appreciate all that you do and appreciate your time this afternoon.
Sic'em Bears beat the Longhorns. Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. There's John
Thanks,
McClain
John.
of the Houston Chronicle. Here with us on SicEm365 Radio, talking NFL, a little bit of basketball with the Rockets post-Harden as well. The Nets have had success, but they've also seen their statistics plummet defensively, and
they're 6-4, and the Rockets are 7-3.
It's been better for Houston thus far. A small sample size with just 10 games, but still, it's better than maybe a lot of Houston fans thought it might be post James Harden.
Yeah, and I had to ask about Christian Wood because currently he is in PER. He's the 16th best player in the NBA, and he's .02 away from catching LeBron James in that category. Pretty crazy stuff that he's been able to do late in his career because he's actually an older guy who kind of emerged at the end of last year and now this year.
Mm-hmm. So Rockets got a little something to work with, and they'll be fun to watch the rest of the way, as obviously the Nets and that story there, and a lot of others going on in the NBA right now. Mavericks are struggling. They need to figure some things out in a big way. This is not the follow-up campaign that you thought they would have at all, so they got to figure some things out there. But how about your Spurs?
It's tough. It's tough. Oh.
Well, that's what you get. After dominating for like a decade, then you get to suffer like everybody else.
And see, I like their roster, but man, every time I go look at the box score, I see LaMarcus Aldridge, like 18 minutes, 5 points, 5 rebounds. I'm just like, what are they doing? I mean, you gotta move on at some point. It's just not working out there, and they need to keep letting these young guys, Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray, just play more significant minutes.
If he's playing 18 minutes, that means he's making, like $1 million a minute, basically, on his contract or whatever it is, but probably at least that, I would think. But, the Spurs, you got spoiled there for a little while, so it's just
I'll admit it. Yep.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that happens. I mean, I'm a Mavs fan. I got to at least experience a championship, not multiple, like you were able to, and I was happy with that.
Something crazy though, they still are 3 games up on the Mavs.
Yeah, and the Mavs aren't good.
It's crazy.
The Mavs aren't good.
I know, but they got a top 5 player. It's just crazy.
They who else they have around him? That's I mean, and you know what? And Luka's a top 5 player statistically, but he's got his own issues in his game that he needs to work on. So he's far from being the total package, at least as much as he can potentially be. He's not there yet. He's still got some things that he needs to iron out and fix and change as well. So thanks to John McClain. I'm not used to monitoring the text line while hosting a show. So there's a few texts from the last couple hours that we will get to. If I hadn't responded before now, just know that I'm kind of juggling a little bit more than usual and haven't had time to scope that out. So when we come back, we'll have a final segment, and we will lead you in to 6 o'clock when you can flip the channel over to ESPN and get to watching the Bears and the Longhorns. But we'll come back with some of your text messages, including a couple predictions for tonight's game. If you want to throw one in there last minute real quick, 254-339-1122. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Fall in love with a new vehicle for less at Allen Samuels with incredible deals like a 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux with $6,750 in values, or a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for $4,250 in values. There's a reason why Jeep has so many accolades. So come see for yourself and save at AllenSamuels.com. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. ribs, sauces, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right. Actually, I shouldn't be using that on a day like today. Connie will probably be there tonight, actually, now that I think about it.
Oh, he definitely will. He'll be one of the guys that was able to get a
magically
ticket.
Got cleared to be in the big attendance bump for Texas tonight. You know, Mack Rhoades, that you could tell that it didn't bother him, but it kind of irked him a little bit when he was talking to us. He's like, "Yeah, kind of funny how that happens, huh?" So
they'll return the favor when they come to Waco, I'm sure.
I would hope so, man. Unless the CDC's like, nope. I mean, you better return the favor. I would think, yeah. And shoot, nobody wants fans inside that gym more than Mack Rhoades does. I mean, that's what golly, I wouldn't bring this up to him because it'd probably bum him out too much. But the amount of revenue they're losing out on just in general. But you think about the basketball teams and how good they are right now. Like the men's games used to draw really okay.
It'd be packed.
Oh, my God. It'd be the greatest attendance for Baylor basketball of all time, easily of all time. And it would probably be packed nearly every single night for a majority of the Big 12 play for sure. And that's not always the case. They kind of have their games where everybody's like, all right, we're going to go out and people come down from Dallas or up from Houston or whatever. But they would have been doing that constantly this season.
And there's no sing.
Yeah.
So it would have been even bigger.
Man, you had to bring that up, didn't you? Yeah, you're right.
It's true, though.
No sing taken away from the men's basketball attendance. You're right. I mean, you are right.
Sing does pull.
It does, I know.
Sadly.
That's why I reacted the way that I did, because I know that it does, and it's just it's kind of depressing that
I can't tell you how many games I watched on my phone while at a sync practice. It's real
unbelievable.
Life. Yeah.
So this is Grayson's last day co-hosting the show. Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. I didn't even think about that. That did not even cross my radar. But, yeah, that's really unfortunate and just a tough pill to swallow. But let's get us some texts. And again, I said it before the break, but if you're just rejoining us, trying to host and then also pay attention to text, I need to work on that skill. And so there's a few of you who have been texting throughout the afternoon. Fortunately, a lot of you from the last 20 minutes or so. So hopefully you're still locked in. But for those that texted earlier. I apologize for not getting, but just weaving in and out of guests and doing all of that. And here's a question actually from earlier. So it looks like the up-tempo guys need to be monitoring the text line as well, because I don't know if this one got asked. Was the Saban recruiting pitch question asked to you?
Yeah, it was.
It was?
Yeah,
okay.
it was.
What did you think of that?
Oh, well, we listened to it on the...
Y'all did?
We
did, yeah.
Yeah, on it, and it was great. I mean, it was everything you thought Nick Saban would have said in a recruiting pitch. If you haven't watched it, give it a listen. I'll give a quick little summary. Basically, he told a recruit just how great Alabama is at everything. National championships, All-Americans, pros, and how they're better than everyone else. It was a great recruiting pitch. It made me want to go to Alabama.
I think it's cool to have that kind of insight, and this might be unpopular, but I don't like seeing it, honestly. I really don't. I really wish I would not see it. Like, it's cool to see what he does, and it's kind of what you expected, but I just hate the idea that some kid out there was like, I'm going to record Nick Saban and then post it on Twitter. I just hate that, because now, you know how many coaches' recruiting pitches we're going to see on social media? Unless, like, they put their foot down and go like, hey, if you post this, offer stripped. But we know that Jaden Blue or whatever could probably post whatever, and schools aren't going to back away from him. So
and I'm sure Nick is not happy about
No,
this.
I can't imagine that he is, because that's not a layer that needs to be peeled off. We don't need to know every single thing about every single thing. We just don't. It's not necessary. So it's cool. It's a cool story. It's cool to have, kind of that look in. But at the same time, while I was watching, I was like, that's not for me to know. Like, he's not pitching me. That's for that kid. And whoever that was, I sure hope that he got that cleared or whatever. But I sure hope it doesn't lead to like a rush of, here's Dave Aranda recruiting an anonymous guy over Zoom, and then we hear his pitch, and then, because that's just kind of how things go. But, not that big of a deal as I'm probably making it sound, but that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. So thank you. I'm glad that y'all were able to get to that. That's great. This was from the 254-218. Going to be a full strength Texas team tonight. Looking forward to it. Hook 'em, guys. It's going to be a good one. So thank you, 254-218. Philip had asked about the NCAA tournament, the Big 12 tournament, and I responded to him. The Big 12 tournament is still on as of right now, and there's not really sounding like there's really plans to change that. They want to go full bore with it, and really the only thing that would prevent it at this point is something occurring. So knock on wood, fingers crossed, what have you. They are planning on playing the Big 12 tournament. So, Philip, do appreciate your text in. Scotty B., the Baylor King, says, I do think Baylor does need to slow down the guards of Texas. We also needed to negate that size from Texas with Jericho Sims, Greg Brown, and Kai Jones. In addition, we need to make Texas uncomfortable with our offense and our defense. And then he also added a little while ago, big news about Baylor equestrian attendance, which is only limited for player pass list only. So that's another one of those spring sports that's kind of getting their stuff in a row as far as attendance goes. But, talking about the Baylor defense need to slow down the Texas guards.
Yeah, and that's a storyline. I mean, Andrew Jones, Courtney Ramey, Matt Coleman, I mean, they have been awesome for that Texas team, all averaging over 13 points per game. So, yeah, Baylor's definitely going to have to slow them down. And on the flip side, the Texas guards are going to have to slow down the Baylor guards with Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, Maceo Teague, and Flagler off the bench. It's going to be very interesting, but I will say I think he brought up a really good point. Kai Jones, Jericho Sims, Greg Brown, I truthfully think that those are the guys that will either win or lose Texas this ballgame.
No, I agree. It's a very solid point, and do appreciate it from you, Philip. Or was that Scotty B? Yeah, Scotty B. Sorry about that. Statman said the Bears win the rebounds battle, turnovers, and keep turnovers down. Baylor 76, Texas 70 is his prediction for later on tonight.
High scoring.
Yeah. And I was talking about Jeff Bezos very briefly and the fact that he's stepping down from CEO of Amazon with his $183 billion. And I was like, what do you even do with that? TJ said he's going to buy the world. That's what he's going to do. And pretty much is what he's going to do. Carl, he had a question for John McClain and JJ about J.J. Watt, but John talked about J.J. Watt and kind of addressed that situation. Does that not strike you as a bit odd? And I guess it's not all that surprising because, Deshaun looks like he's on his way out of town, but J.J. Watt not wanting to be in Houston potentially, or them moving on from J.J. Watt because now why not? Because everybody else has left at this point. That's crazy to me because of the deep relationship that he has with the city of Houston. And I know it happens all across the country, various leagues, various franchises. But, man, J.J. Watt and Houston are like that. And Deshaun Watson and Houston were like that. And not so much now, and maybe not J.J. Watt for much longer either.
Yeah, well, he mentioned that they need the cap room. And that might be the reason for it. Now, the intriguing part was him saying that he might end up at the Steelers, in Pittsburgh. That would
play with his brother.
That would be really interesting. And if Bud Dupree comes back, that is a ridiculous defensive line. But yeah, it is weird. He was such a big factor during, a lot of various things that have happened in Houston, the Hurricanes in particular, and just seems like, honestly, the face of the city right now with James Harden gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Deshaun Watson's in that conversation as well, but JJ, a very influential guy, I feel like, in the Houston area.
No doubt. And the cap space thing, I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do, but just kind of not what you pictured when he signed for a big deal and you look at, like, the prime of his career. And I know injuries are starting to add up, but just not maybe how you foresaw him in Houston, going on down this road, certainly. So do appreciate the question, and hopefully John addressed what you were talking about. Matt in D.C., hell of a show, guys. Bears by 10. Thank you very much, Matt. Daniel said, Gronk as special advisor would make Arizona at the very least one of my 5 official. Or no, I said that actually. He said, think about this. Gronk graduated from Arizona. That would be interesting. And my response was, if he was a special advisor at Arizona, that would be one of my 5 official visits most likely.
Oh, my gosh.
Go hang with Gronk in Arizona? That'd be awesome. I know he'd have some limitations, but yeah, I mean, if that becomes a trend and I'm Arizona football, hell yeah, I want Gronk as my special advisor. Yeah. Absolutely. That'd be a brilliant thing to do. So we'll see if he follows eventually in the footsteps of the Vince Youngs of the world and all the others who get those special advisor roles. And finally, talking about the Mavs very briefly, Gunny Hartman, Willie Cauley sucks. So there you go. Thank you for that insight there, Gunny. And yeah, the Mavs just not very good right now. Not very good right now.
Which is surprising. They had a lot of high expectations, I feel like, coming into the year. And they had a really good bubble performance as well.
Mm-hmm.
They fought the Clippers pretty hard, but it just hasn't come together around Luka, and they're really struggling.
Yeah, 5 games under 500, and lost a tough one last night to the Suns, 109-108. So, yeah, they got some regrouping to do, and we'll see. We'll see with the Mavs. Just 21 games in, but yeah, already 5 games under 500. So I believe that's all the texts that we got that we needed to address. Do appreciate everybody who has been a part of the show throughout the afternoon. Tomorrow it's going to get a little bit more back to normal, although not entirely normal, because Smokey and Paul will be broadcasting from Tampa and Super Bowl Radio Row, whatever that looks like. We'll learn about that tomorrow, but I know they've got, Randy White's one of the guests that I know that they've already got scheduled for at some point here in the next couple of days, if not tomorrow. And knowing the two of them, they will have a lot more in store as well. And I'll be along here somewhere. I'm not quite sure what exactly I'll be doing, but I'll be chiming in as best I can as normal with them beginning tomorrow. But Grayson, good having you around today, man. Definitely appreciate you coming down and helping out with the guys gone, and you're around for Up Tempo as well. And we recorded the Bearcast. Got that right this time. Yep. The Bearcast, formerly known as Trust the Podcast and formerly known as Fast Friday before that, finally came to a name that I think people will stop complaining about.
Hopefully they do. But it was a fun day being on SicEm365 Radio, helping out a little bit. And I'll be here every Tuesday, not necessarily on this show, but with the Bearcast and on Up Tempo as well, doing the big board every week, recruiting segment that we're doing now on Up Tempo every Tuesday.
All right, sounds good. So definitely appreciate your time, and look forward to chatting again here pretty soon. Appreciate Jack, and also, of course, Rob, and, of course, Armstrong as well, the men behind the scenes that are, doing the graphics and getting the commercials in order and calling the guests and doing all those types of things. It's a thankless job at times, but thank you, fellas, for the great job that you guys did today. So, again, here in just the next few minutes, tipping off a big one that you can bet we will be talking about a lot tomorrow on Up Tempo, beginning at 11 a.m., and, of course, on SicEm365 Radio, beginning at 3 o'clock. Spread the word. Tell a friend about SicEm365 Radio, and have a great night. Baylor, Texas, coming up here in just a few minutes. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality.